Internet might be choppy. I already see that I got one bar. So if that's the case, I don't know what's going on. It's only when I use StreamYard. So hopefully that won't be the case tonight. But if it is, we may have to switch over to the phone and have a crummy background. And it is what it is. It might be what we have to do for the game tomorrow as well. And I'll just follow the chat on the laptop. But I guess you guys will let me know in the chat if it is. And if it is, that's what we'll have to do. I'll have to figure it out on the phone. Haven't been on StreamYard on my phone in a really long time. Let me just get ready to log in just in case, because I have a feeling that's what's going to happen. I could already tell from the start of the stream. But I will follow you guys in the chat. I'm just getting ready on the phone now. Stand up! New York Giant fan. Somebody said the camera is laggy, but the audio is good. All right, worst case scenario. As long as the audio is good, I could always get rid of the camera. But I'm going to log into StreamYard on my phone just for a fail-safe, and just give me a second to get with the chat. That's why I was running a little bit late. I was trying to figure out the stream out of my phone because I had a feeling this could be happening. Try logging in. I just want to be able to a seamless transition if I have to switch. Laggy camera. What's going on, man? What's going on? What's going on there? Joe Dan, man, thanks for popping in. Stand up. Let's get this win tomorrow. I hope you guys are as excited as I am regarding tomorrow. Really excited for the game tomorrow. Hopefully the New York Giants get off to a 7-1 start. I can't believe I'm saying that. Haven't done one of these live streams with you guys in a while in terms of the solo live streams, and I figured I'd take some video callers tonight if I could figure this out, but hopefully we don't have too much trouble with the internet. Like I said, I'm sure you guys will figure it out as we go along. The phone it is. Yeah, listen, if it's going to be the phone, it's going to be the phone. I will wait until I figure it out. Never mind, it's lagging a bit. Okay, it's lagging. If it's lagging, let me know, and I'll just do it now. I don't even want to mess around with it. I'll do it now. It may take me 2 or 3 minutes to figure it out, though, in the meantime. So you may not have me in here for about 2 or 3 minutes. So let me know now, and we'll switch over to the phone. I have not seen you since I predicted a Yankee sweep. What's going on? Phone it is, baby, Zahybe says. All right, switch it. Okay, we'll switch it. Hold on 1 second. Whoa. Hold on. Let me mute this. You guys still hear the echo or no? Let me turn this mic off. Maybe that's what it is. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's been going on lately. And the mic's good to go. All right, you guys, we should be good to go now, man. Josh says, stand up. Let's get a win tomorrow, man. That's right, man. Let's go, buddy. You're going to try to keep up with everybody in the chat. Sorry if I missed the donation. I don't think I did. I'm going to hold this phone while it's charging and then hopefully it's charging up where I don't have to hold it and I can pull the charger out in about 20 minutes or so. Independent says, nervous Jags game, brutal. No Neil, hope we recover. Yeah, listen, man. I've seen a lot of Giants fans. Okay, good now. Yeah, listen, it was just an echo off the microphone. So sorry about that, guys. I've seen a lot of people talk about how they're nervous this week about the Jaguars game, and not the Jaguars game, rather. You mean this week's game, unless you were nervous about the Jaguars game as well. But I've seen a lot of people talk about how they're nervous about the Seattle game this week, and I understand it. Obviously, we're playing in Seattle. It's a harsh environment. We played there 2 years ago. They didn't have a crowd, right? So they're notorious for having a really strong home field advantage. But I don't view this as a game. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. For some reason, am not nearly as scared about this game as a lot of other people are. I'm not guaranteeing victory. I'm not telling you that I think, that we're going to blow them out. No, every Giants game has been close. Every Giants game has been tough. I expect this game to be tough as well. But I don't know. Maybe I don't view Seattle as strongly as everybody else does. I understand that they're coming off a really impressive win last week. They beat up on the Chargers, but the Chargers haven't looked very good either. But they're tough. They're a good team. We had to travel. Obviously, they got a good ground attack with Kenneth Walker, but I think we're going to be able to run all over them. Their run defense is horrible. I think we're going to be able to run all over them between Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones. I worry about our run defense, but if we could sustain drives, chew up the clock, I think we stand a really good chance to win this football game. That's my honest opinion going into this week. We'll see, but maybe I'm being too confident. I've tried to be as conservative as I can be all year and try to limit expectations. And my expectations are going to raise as the team continues to play well. And this week, I'm confident. The camera is still lagging. What the hell is going on, man? Is the camera still lagging? I need a sheet, bro. What's going on, Jai, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. Let's see. Wilbert says, do you think we trade for a wide receiver? Who would you want? I want whatever. I can't do anything about the camera. I could switch to maybe data, but I don't know what's going on. It hasn't been doing it. Yeah, I see it here. It's lagging on my end over here. I checked the upload speed. The download speeds are fine. It's 200. I don't know what's going on. I can't do anything about it. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do this tonight, and might not be able to do it tomorrow either, because I can't do anything about it, guys. Much better than the laptop. We'll see. Do you think a trade for a wide receiver? Who would you want? As far as a wide receiver goes, let me turn off the camera now. Maybe you guys can just hear the audio. Maybe the audio is just coming in clear, because I know that the all right, if the audio is fine, then we'll just do the audio, because I don't know what's been going on with this. But as far as do I think we could trade for a wide receiver? Who would you want? This is much easier. Now I don't have to hold the phone anymore. Let me know if the audio is coming in crappy. If it's not, well, that's great. Then I'll just talk through the audio. As far as a wide receiver, I mean, listen, I think in an ideal world, Jerry Jeudy. If we're going to be trading for a wide receiver, I think Jerry Jeudy is the obvious guy that I would want more so than anybody else. It's Jerry Jeudy, but it depends on the price. So like everybody says Jeudy, everybody says who's the Claypool, because he's young, and obviously that makes sense. And I would prefer a young wide receiver because you could build with them for the next 4, 5, 6 years. But that being said, Wilbert, if I could get Brandon Cooks for a much lesser price, or another veteran wide receiver for a much lesser price, and I don't got to give up a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and they eat up a lot of the salary, I may choose that route. So I think it comes down to the market. It comes down to what these teams are asking for these wide receivers. So it's hard for me to say. It's whoever it depends. It depends on what the prices are for these wide receivers. In an ideal world, I'd be able to get Jeudy for like a third-round pick, but I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I know a lot of Giants fans are like soft on Jeudy because he has some drop problems, but I still think he's got a lot of potential. But I don't want to give up a ton of draft capital for anybody right now. I think we also have to think about the future as well. John Letourneau, stand up. Chris, how you been? Why not you stream the Mets? Oh, I forgot they choked the division away, and now I have to watch the Phillies in the World Series. Yeah, screw you, Phillies, John. Screw you, Phillies, John. Hope you guys lose to the Astros, man. But I appreciate you for popping in, and can't wait to beat up on your Eagles this year, buddy. But thanks for popping in, man. Well, let me get to Wilbert real quick. I'll switch over to the microphone, the computer microphone. Now that, matter of fact, hold on one second. I'm going to switch to the. Let me pull myself. Let me know if the microphone on this is lagging at all. If not, we'll just stick with this because obviously I'm assuming there's going to be a higher quality microphone than the microphone on my cell phone. So we'll stick with this for now, and we'll bring on some callers along the way. But just let me know if this is good to go, guys. If it starts lagging, let me know in the chat. But yeah, I don't know what's going on in terms of the. It's just a StreamYard problem. I don't have any other problems anywhere else on the internet, but maybe I'll have to figure out another way to start streaming because this has been an issue now for me for like the last 4 or 5 days. So. Bill M. He says, I don't want to spend on. You didn't have to do that, man. Thank you so much, man. I don't want to spend on wide receiver. That's not a long-term solution. Listen, it comes down to the price for me. I don't want to give up like a second or a third round pick. If I could get Cooks for like a 5th round pick and they eat the majority of the contract, I'm completely fine with that. That's just my personal opinion. I obviously understand people that feel otherwise, but if it's not a high cost and I could get him in here and I'm not paying a ton of his salary, and I don't know if that would be the case, but if they eat a lot of that salary, I get them for a 4th or 5th round pick, and I just got a 3rd round pick for Tony, along with a 6th round pick. I'm okay with that, especially if I feel like he could help the team. It could help me better analyze and figure out what Daniel Jones is as a quarterback. I think it could make sense, but it comes down to the price for me. Obviously, my preference would be a younger player, especially if I'm giving up decent draft capital. I want Judy or I want Claypool or whoever they identify as the best young receiver to bring in here. If they're going to bring one in, that's ideal. But it comes down to the price for me, though. If you can get a guy for a really cheap price, it could make a lot of sense to go with the veteran route if it's not going to cost too much and it's not going to eat up much salary and it could help you compete in playoff games this year. Dan, man, what's going on, man? Government job coming into effect, CIA blocking your video. Maybe that's what it is, Dan. I don't know, man, but we'll just do it on the mic for now and we'll figure it out as we go. I don't know. I do have my government computer still synced up to the internet, so maybe that has something to do with it, but I've had that synced up to the internet since football season. I started my stay-at-home job since week 2 of the NFL season. I haven't really been having this problem until like the last 3 days or so, 4 days or so. Tomorrow I'll bring the modem downstairs. Maybe that'll help because I do have a cable hookup down here, so maybe that'll help. But if it doesn't, we'll figure it out. I'll probably just go with the audio. I know it's better if you have the video reactions, but I can't do anything about it. And maybe I'll have the cable guy come here during the bye week and figure it out. But sorry, guys. Sports biased. Do you stream with cable? Wi-Fi attached through cable? Wi-Fi is not. Yeah. Yes, I stream. You mean through the internet? Cable internet? Yes. I don't have a direct connection with the Ethernet cable. I don't even think I have an Ethernet connection through this laptop. I'd probably have to get an add-on if I wanted to do that, a direct connection. But that's probably something that I could look into, to make sure this doesn't continue to happen in the future. I probably got to get an adapter for the laptop. Independent, what's going on, man? Any other free agents you want? An inside linebacker, perhaps? Yeah, Ethernet's the way to go. That's probably what I'll do, man. That's probably what I'll do going forward. I'll probably during the bye week, I'll probably get an Ethernet adapter, and whenever I'm going to stream, I'll hook it up directly to the Wi-Fi, and hopefully that fixes it. I don't know if it will. I mean, my modem's not that far away. It's maybe like 12 feet away, 15 feet away. But it's on the next floor. So maybe tomorrow we'll bring the router down here and see if that improves things. But for now, this is what we'll do. Any other free agent you want? An inside linebacker, perhaps? What, you free agent? I mean, I've not even began to look at the free agents next year. I could look at them briefly real quick and pull them up for you guys. But 2023 NFL free agents, I'll look at the linebackers real quick. I've not even looked at them, to be completely honest with you. I don't even know what our price range is going to be in terms of who we're going to be able to sign and in terms of what we're going to do with our players and how much we're going to spend there. But as far as the linebackers go for next year, 2023, I'll pull up the list for you. Hold on. Present, share screen. By the way, I'm just checking the chat now. I just want to make sure that the audio is all right. For some reason, I'm hearing a slight echo on my phone. I thought I turned the volume all the way down. Oh, I guess you can't. Hold on one second. Let me pull myself out of there. That's probably why. Okay. Now we should be better. On my end, we should be better. Video down. Yeah, we have audio, but video down. I could have the video, but it's going to be really choppy. I'm assuming you guys probably don't want that. So we're going to stick with the audio. We're going to stick with this for now. Any other free agent you want? Inside linebacker, perhaps? Yeah. So as far as the linebackers go next year, I mean, you got Deion Jones. He's 28 years old. He's going to be a free agent. Levante David, Bradley Chubb, Devin Bush, Roquan Smith. That's a popular name that a lot of people bring up. I don't think the New York Giants are going to allocate a lot of their money to the middle linebacker position. We may draft one. And I could be wrong. Corey Littleton, he was a popular guy. Remember that a couple of years ago that we were looking at that would actually kind of fit this defense. He's going to be 29 years old. I don't know how he's doing this year. I know he's been bad. And I wanted him. I'll be the first to say, but he hasn't been good. So, I mean, in terms of free agency, I think most of our free agency money, if I'm being honest with you, I think it's going to be to retain a lot of the players on this team. I think it's going to be to retain Saquon Barkley. I think it's going to be to retain Daniel Jones. I think it's going to be to retain potentially guys like Julian Love, to give guys like Andrew Thomas extensions. So I don't see the New York Giants next year going out there and spending a whole lot in terms of outside acquisitions. They may spend it on one player, might be a wide receiver, might be a cornerback, maybe a linebacker. Who knows? Those are all big needs of ours. But I think the majority of our newer players are going to be via the draft next year. The guys that we bring in from outside the organization. A lot of these players are playing well. And I think not all of them, but I think a lot of them are going to be back. And the way that they're going to come back, we're going to have to, obviously add to our cap. Nelson. Will you watch the Eagles lose tomorrow? Yeah, I haven't even looked at the sky. I mean, obviously the Giants play at 4:25. I'm not going to stream the Eagles game. I'm assuming it's at 1. But yeah, if the Eagles game's on here, which I'm assuming it will be, they usually are when the Giants aren't playing, I'll definitely be watching it before the Giants game. Hopefully they lose. That would mean that we have a chance to be tied for first place. I don't even know the Eagles are playing. I haven't even had an opportunity to look at the schedule. Let me take a quick look. Eagles are playing. Let me see. Oh, we got a London game tomorrow, 9:30. By the way, anybody that follows me on Twitter, I've been doing those morning Twitter streams. So I'll definitely be doing one of those this week as well. The Eagles play the Steelers on CBS at 1 o'clock. So I don't think I'm going to get that game because the Jets play at 1 o'clock as well against the Steelers, and they're on CBS. So unfortunately, guys, I don't think we're going to be getting the Eagles game. We're going to be getting the Jets game tomorrow. But I'll be watching it on the Red Zone. Bill M, man, thank you so much, man. Rather give you and Bad Dog my money than my ex. Wow, man. Bill, man, I appreciate it, buddy. Sorry to hear about that with your ex, man. Thank you, Bill. What's up, Max? Max says Daniel Jones with laughs. Max, are you a Daniel Jones hater? Are you a Daniel Jones hater? Do we have a Daniel Jones hater in the chat? Bill, Max. Why are you laughing at Daniel Jones? Why are you laughing at Daniel Jones, Max? What is that all about? Hold on a second. You're laughing at the quarterback that leads the league in fourth quarter comebacks, leads the league in game-winning drives, has led the New York Giants to a 6-1 record against the Ravens, against the Packers. You're laughing at that, Daniel Jones? Why? Why? Because he doesn't have the best of fantasy stats? Stats are for losers. Don't care about stats. Daniel Jones has been playing very well, and I expect him to continue to play very well. And hopefully, we'll see. But I hope he keeps proving you doubters wrong. I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. Looks like for now, I'll switch it back to the camera. It looks like for now, it's not lagging on my end, but it probably will soon. If it does, we'll get rid of the camera again, and we'll just go with the, there it is. It's going to lag in a minute. There's something wrong with the internet. So we'll just go with the audio. But that's why, for everybody that's tuning in, that's why you're just getting the audio for now. I know that the screen keeps pausing. Let's go, Giants. What's going on, amazing guy, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. What's going on, Conway, man? Good to see you, man. Brendan says, what I would like to know is how the rest of the team reacted to Daniel Jones' emotion after the Marcus Johnson drop. I've heard or seen. Yeah, I mean, that'd be great, right? That was really the first time you saw Daniel Jones kind of yell at one of his teammates on the field. What's going on, X-Man, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. You don't know who the Eagles are playing till now. That's not good for a football. Joe, I'm sorry I got a job, Joe. Sorry, Joe. I follow the Giants, man. Who gives a crap? Yes, sir. Bring me back. What's going on, Julian Love, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. And Moose says, Tana, would you trade a 23 and 24 third-round pick for Judy? Yes. Yes, I would. Personally. I know a lot of people in chat wouldn't. People have been making fun of his drop problems, so on and so forth. But yes, Jerry Jeudy to me is a great route runner. I think he'd step in here and play very well. Yes, I'd give up 2 third-round picks for Jerry Jeudy. You'd still have him under rookie control for the next, 3 years because of the 5th-year rookie option. You just got a third-round pick for Kadarius Toney. So you're basically giving up 1 third-round pick. That's the way I'd look at it if I was yes, I'd give up 2 third-round picks. I'd give up this year's third-round pick and a future third-round pick. Yes, 100% for Jerry Jeudy. Yes. Let's see what we got. Stop using StreamYard. Maybe it is just StreamYard. I got to figure it out with OBS. I haven't streamed on OBS in forever, but that's probably what we're gonna have to start doing. But tomorrow, you probably won't get my video. We'll probably do the audio during the live stream because that's all I could do. I don't want to give you guys choppy video, and we'll figure it out during the bye week. Jack Beck says, Chris, we need this Hyatt kid. Long, fast, athletic dude. Is that the guy from Tennessee? I think that's the wide receiver from Tennessee. He had 5 touchdowns in 1 game. I've watched a couple of Tennessee games. He's looked good. I didn't watch the game today, but he's looked good. Let's see what we got. As a Giants fan, I think he's okay, but he's not a long-term quarterback. Who are you talking about, Daniel Jones? I don't know if he's the long-term quarterback or not yet. I know that I'm like pretty much committed to saying that I think he's the 2023 quarterback. I'm not going to commit past that, but I think he's shown enough for me to be like, all right, I need to see more. I need to see what he could do a second year in the same offense, with better weapons, with more help around him. That's where I'm at with Daniel Jones right now. I'm not fully committed to him past 2023, but I think I'm committed to him for 2023, especially where I think we're going to be picking in the draft. So that's where I'm at with Daniel Jones. I'm not at a 5-year contract extension with Daniel Jones. I'm at a short-term contract extension with the ability to sign him to a long-term contract extension if he continues to improve. That's where I'm at with Daniel Jones right now. Let's see what we got. Independent says DJ can't cripple himself for a second half of the season. This is Jones' contract year, so being critical of him is totally legit for Giants fans. I agree with that. He needs to continue to improve, and I think he will. I don't want to franchise him because the franchise commits $32 million to the cap. If you sign him to a 3-year deal, you could move the money around. So maybe you only commit $22, $23 million to the cap, and you still give yourselves an out after the first year. I think that's the approach I would take if I was Joe Schoen and I was signing Jones. I wouldn't franchise tag him because it would actually give me more cap maneuverability if I were to sign him to a multi-year contract. Let's see. Percent we trade for a wide receiver. I would say right now, if you ask me the percent we would trade for a wide receiver, it all comes down to the market. It all comes down to what the asking price is around the league at the position. But if you ask me today, I would probably say 50%. If we win tomorrow, it probably goes up to 65 to 70%. If we're 7-1, I'm leaning more so we'll make a trade than we won't. I'm not going to say I know it, but I would be more leaning that we will than we won't if we win tomorrow. That we will add a wide receiver. That's my honest opinion. Let's see. We got to get healthy and stay healthy. Yeah, unfortunately with this team, that we have not been able to stay healthy for a very long time. We've had the most injuries in football for, every year, and that hasn't really improved too much this year. So hopefully we will get back healthy. We're starting to get some of our pieces back. We'll see, Steve. We'll see. We're getting Ellerson Smith back. We're getting Nick Gates back. I'm excited about that. Hopefully Nick Gates gets out on the football field this week. If he gets an opportunity, obviously he's not going to be starting. Azudu's going to be starting. As far as Seattle goes with the injury report, we'll see. They got 2 game time decisions at the wide receiver spot. Obviously with DK Metcalf, the prime wide receiver there, but both their top wide receivers, Lockett and Metcalf, both are game time decisions tomorrow. So if they can't go, that changes a lot of things for Seattle. So we'll see. Let's see what we got. Hopefully we're healthy for the stretch run. From your lips to God's ears, man, but I'm not going to bank on it. You just ordered your Gates jersey. I love Gates, man. The only reason I'd be scared to order a Gates jersey, heaviest jam band, is I have to see them sign him first, right? Because you're free agent at the end of the year. I think they will. I think he wants to come back. I think he'll come back on a cheap salary. He's well respected in the locker room, a former captain. But that's another guy that we got to, we're going to have to sign next year because he's a free agent. So we'll see. But I hope they bring him back. I love Nick Gates. And I'm going to open up the chat soon, by the way, guys, especially because I can't show my face. Not that it's the most beautiful face in the world anyway, but Ralph, man, thank you very much, man. Giants did not want to allow Kadarius and Jones to play together because they know he would have been dynamic and fans would be upset with the trade. I disagree. And again, Ralph, that's just your opinion. Why do you feel that way, though? Like, why would Brian Dable, to me, has done nothing but show that he's trying to win every football game he possibly can win. This is my honest opinion on Kadarius Toney. My honest to God opinion on Kadarius Toney. I think Kadarius Toney, the Giants viewed Toney the same way they viewed Golladay at the beginning of the offseason. There was something about Toney, whether it was the way he was practicing, whether it was the way that he didn't show up for voluntary camp, whether it was the way that he was playing in the preseason, whether it was the way for him to adapt to the playbook, to fit in the scheme. I can't tell you the answer to it, okay? But there was something they didn't love about Kadarius Toney. And I think, much like with Golladay when they started David Sills, when everybody had their hands up in the air, the Giants thought that Richie James gave them a better chance to win football games. That's my honest to God opinion. Why else would Brian Dable's trying to win football games? And he put out the best players he thought could play. And I think they weren't rushing Toney back because they didn't want to hurt his trade value. Because if teams around the league knew that they were starting Richie James over Kadarius Toney, it would plummet his trade value. That's my honest opinion on it. He was probably a little bit dinged up, but the Giants were probably saying, take your time. They probably had an agreement during the offseason that we're going to look to trade you. He wasn't happy there, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe the Giants didn't want to risk him getting hurt, so they wouldn't be able to trade him. But I think there was always a plan to trade Kadarius Toney, probably by as early as week 1, maybe even before that. And the Giants were just waiting until they could get the best offer they possibly could. I don't think this was a spur-of-the-moment decision. I don't think that this was just on a whim. I think the Giants were in constant negotiations, not just probably with the Chiefs, but other teams around the league. And they waited until they got the best deal they possibly could, and they pulled the trigger. And they waited till as long as they possibly could, which was 4 days before the trade deadline, and they pulled the trigger. That's what I think happened. I don't think they were in love with him. I don't. I don't think that they viewed him as a part of the future of this team. I understand why some fans may be upset because they see the talent in Kadarius Toney. But Kadarius Toney has not been able to stay on the football field. And when he gets back out on the field, sure, I'm sure he'll do great with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got Pat Mahomes, for God's sakes. Okay, Richie James would look like a superstar with Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm sure he'll look really good over there. I don't think he was going to work here. I'm going to trust the brain trust of Brian Dable and Joe Schoen. People have questioned a lot of things that they've done so far this year, and now they're not questioning anymore. They questioned the O'Shane Jimenez decision in terms of picking him over Quincy Roche. They questioned them about cutting Blake Martinez. They've questioned them about several other things. And so far, it looks like they know what they're doing. So I'm going to trust them. I'm going to let them build their team. I'm going to let them make their player evaluations, and we'll take it from there. I'm not saying I blindly trust them, but I'm going to give them their opportunity to start building their team, make their decisions. This is year 1. None of these players are their guys. So that's my take on the situation. I don't think they like Kadarius Toney, and I don't think it has anything to do with what you said in terms of them looking good. Why? Why wouldn't they want to give Daniel Jones every opportunity they possibly could to give him the best opportunity to win football games? Why wouldn't Daniel Jones want that? I don't agree with that opinion. I think there was more to it than that. I really do. I think there was more to it than that. Let's see what we got. But thank you, Ralph. I appreciate it, man. And let's see. Raphael says, is a Super Bowl run possible? I say yes. Raphael, my man. Love you, buddy. I love you, Raphael. Relax. Holy crap, man. Get a beer. I don't know what you got to do, man. Do whatever you got to do to relax right now, Raphael. But we're 6-1. Enjoy the season. We got 10 games to go. Let's get to the playoffs first. Let's see who we're playing in the first round. Let's see how we look as a team. Let's see if we're healthy. Relax. Can we get to the bye? Let's see how we do this week, man. Relax. Here's what I'll say, though. All kidding aside, here's what I'll say. If we get to the playoffs, which I think we're going to, and we're relatively healthy, there's not a team in the NFC. I'm not telling you we could go on a Super Bowl run. I'm not saying that. But there's not a team in the NFC, in my opinion, right now, outside of probably the 49ers, if they start clicking, because I think they are really good. But there's not a team in the NFC outside of probably them that I look at and say, we have no chance against. I think we could beat pretty much any team in the NFC in a one-game situation. I'm not saying I would favor us, but I'd give us a chance. I don't think there's any powerhouses in the NFC. That includes the Philadelphia Eagles. I think we could beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I really believe that. I don't think they're this super team that people that are making them out to be. I know they're off to a 6-0 start. I think they're beatable. I really do, especially if we're healthy and we, and this offense and defense come further along. So I'm not going to go as far to say that I think we could go on a Super Bowl run, but I think we would be a tough out in the playoffs. We have a great head coach. We have a guy that's able to game plan week to week. So I think we'd be a tough out. I don't think we'd be a team that somebody would just steamroll. Let's put it that way. But listen, we have no playoff experience, right? You go back to Eli Manning during his career. Eli Manning's first playoff game against the Carolina Panthers, he got steamrolled. He had never played in the playoffs before. We have a team filled with players that have never played in the playoffs before. So we're inexperienced. So I'm not going to set the expectation sky high. We got to get that experience. We'll see how we do when we get there. And maybe we go on a Bengals run, right? Because they didn't have much experience either. So the NFL is a funny sport, and we'll see, man. But Bill, man, thank you, dude. Thank you. You must have really hated your ex, Bill. You must have really hated your ex because you really do love me. Bill, man, thank you so much, man. Always in the streams, always supporting. Thank you so much, man, for the incredible generosity. And I'm going to work on getting that internet fixed for next week. Tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to get it fixed by tomorrow. But by the next stream in 2 weeks, when we live stream the games, I'm going to try to get a direct connection. And we'll see if that's not fixing it. Then maybe I'll switch cable services. I don't know. So this has only started happening this week. So that's why we're not showing the video right now, because it started conking out like it's been conking out the last couple of days. It's very temperamental. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it goes out. But Bill, man, thank you so much, man. He says, let's face facts. Joe heard Tony had a bad bet from day one. Hence Wan'Dale in the second. Love we got a third for Joka. Yeah, listen, when you look back at it, and a lot of people speculated that on draft night when the Giants drafted Wan'Dale Robinson, does this have something to do with Kadarius Toney? Does this have something to do with Kadarius Toney? Because they do have a similar skill set. And maybe now it does have something to do with that. I don't know if that did or didn't, personally, Bill. I still don't know if that meant anything. Because I do think you could have multiple wide receivers like that in an offense like the New York Giants are trying to run. I really do believe where this started, personally, and they may have not loved Toney from the start. That's very possible. But in terms of them being like really down on Toney and looking to potentially look to trade him, I think this started with voluntary camp. And I remember when I talked about that on Twitter and on YouTube, when Toney didn't show up for voluntary camp, that a lot of people were like, Chris, you're overreacting. It's voluntary. Guys, I'm fully aware what the word voluntary means. But listen, if when you think about it, when you start a new job, is it a good idea for you not to show up, regardless if it's voluntary or not? What kind of message does that send to your new boss, right? So I don't think he got off on the right foot, and especially when we've had now an opportunity to view the type of coach that Brian Daboll is, and he really does prioritize hard work, what you do in training camp and practice and everything else. I think that had a lot to do with it. I really do. I think they got off on the wrong foot. My guess would be, this is just a guess, I have no inside information. I'm not there. Maybe Toney took offense to the way that maybe Daboll talked to him after the fact, and they probably didn't get off on the right foot. And at that point forward, the Giants said, okay, we're open to trading this guy. But I think that's where this started. I really do. I think that's where this started. I think it had to do with voluntary camp and him not showing up. He didn't get off on the right foot with the new coaching staff. But the Wan'Dale thing makes sense now too, because I remember that was a popular talking point during the draft this past year. David Cohen, man, always talk to you on Twitter, man. Good to see you, man. Chris, gun to your head. Which wide receiver do we end up with? Okay, this is the God's honest truth. I was talking to JD Sports Talk, who I've had on the channel before, who I love. Great guy. I was talking to him on Twitter. Actually, for evidence, just so you guys know, this is my real opinion. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share you my conversation with JD in our direct conversations back and forth. This is my honest opinion, and I said this before the rumors came out today. This was like 2 days ago. So let me share this with you guys real quick. And again, hot take, I guess, but I really do think we're trading for a wide receiver. And I've thought that now for like a month, especially if we're in the situation that we're in now. And JD and me, we go back and forth all the time on Twitter. We talk, and we were talking about adding a wide receiver. So he brought up, I hope Shane gets Jones another weapon. Bellinger injury will be underrated. Dude is a stout blocker, and only a rookie is getting better and better as a receiver. I said, I think we will add a weapon. I've thought it all along. Dable is trying to instill a winning culture. Shane as well. He says, I pray we get Judy. What tells your guys you believe in them more than going out and adding a piece at the deadline? Judy and Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen, Devontae Adams, route running skills, he's saying. Route running ability, blah, 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 blah. I said, I think we're getting Judy. So if you ask me, that's what I think we're going to get. I said, I have not heard anything, just a hunch. I've thought that for about 3 weeks. So if I had to make a prediction, that would be my prediction. But it's just a prediction. It's not like I have sources or anything like that. I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense because of his age, because of his contract, because of his route running skills, because of his upside, because of his ties to Brian Dable. I think he makes the most sense, but it comes down to his market. I don't know what his market's going to be. If his market's absurd, or maybe he's not even available, So, but if I had to pick a wide receiver that's been rumored to be available, I think it would be him. That's been rumored to be available. I think it would be him. And there's been rumors. Conway says, why would Denver trade him? There's been rumors that Denver's looking to potentially trade him. So that's why I'm picking him, because there's been rumors that Denver's looking to trade him. They may be looking to blow it up after the bad start they've gotten off to and looking to get what they feel like they can. So that's who I've thought now for about 2 or 3 weeks. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to be the target, but I don't know if we'll end up getting him, but that would be my prediction. Ralph, man, thank you very much, man. 180 yards at 3/4 against the Cowboys is not a fluke. Has better hands, better speed, and better yards after the catch. Ralph, and I think you're right, Ralph. I don't think it's a fluke in the sense of his talent. I think the guy clearly has talent, okay? I think the guy clearly has talent. But I'm going to show you another guy's stats, Ralph. I'm going to show you another guy's stats. Because to me, that's all he's done. He's had one game, and that was in mop-up duty, by the way. And I'm not saying he didn't look good in that game. He looked very good. He looked good throughout the entirety of that game. But that game, in the entire second half, we were down by 20-plus points. The Cowboys were playing prevent defense, and we had open lanes, right? We were throwing the entire game. So he had a very good game. How about Richie James? Am I sharing my screen right now? Richie James, November 5th, Green Bay Packers, 9 catches, 184 yards, 1 touchdown. What does it mean? It's one game. It's one game. And I guess I wasn't sharing my screen. But at the end of the day, he had one game. The guy's got 420 career receiving yards. He's missed like half of the games he was supposed to play. And he's got as many touchdowns as you do, Ralph. Like, I don't understand why Giants fans are flipping out about Kadarius Toney. The guy couldn't stay on the field. The guy wasn't ultra professional. And the guy was constantly hurt. And when he was on the field, he had one great game. I had people in my comments yesterday telling me that it's like the biggest mistake in the history of the Giants, that, he's this incredible playmaker. Kadarius Toney, to me, as a Giant, and I understand what people see in him, and he may become a really good wide receiver, but as a Giant, I think he's the most overrated Giant since I've been watching the football team. The most overrated Giant since I've been watching the football team. Chris Myrick has, 2 touchdowns? That's more than him. Andrew Thomas has more touchdowns than Kadarius Toney. So did he have potential? Sure. But the guy didn't do anything. So I don't understand why people are up in arms about it. I think the Giants got what they could. They didn't view him as a part of the future. And things like this are going to happen when you bring in a new general manager who has no ties to the players on this team. They're going to pick and choose the guys that they want to push forward with. They didn't like him. We move forward. It is what it is. It's not like we traded Odell Beckham. Like, people are making this out to be like, we traded Odell Beckham. We didn't trade Odell Beckham. We didn't even trade Ruben Randall. T, thank you very much. Why can't folks just be in the moment and enjoy the ride? Whee! Also think the Wandell pick was KT Insurance. Very possible. And yeah, I'm enjoying the moment. I'm definitely enjoying the moment, T. There's no doubt about it. And I'm going to enjoy it every step of the way. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. We get off to a 7-1 start, and then we get the bye. So, and then it's going to feel like a year before our next game. If we win or lose, it's going to feel like a year. I hate the bye. But the Giants will need it. It'll be good. It'll be good to get all the players back well and rested. And we'll see. But I'm excited. I'm excited right now the way this team is playing, and hopefully they keep it up. King Ja says, if Joe can get Daniel his Burris and Toomer, oh my God. King Ja, I'm thinking about this offense right now, dude. And you look at this offense right now, right? Saquon Barkley, the way that he's playing, the growth of Andrew Thomas, or what you hope is going to, the continued growth of Andrew Thomas, the growth of Evan Neal, the ability for Daniel Jones to use his legs. Because to me, so far, more so than anything else, what this new play calling style has done for the Giants, and I think this has as much to do with Barkley as the new play calling as well, just because of all the added attention that Barkley brings to the table. But the dual threat ability of Daniel Jones, his ability to run along with Saquon Barkley's, if you ever get these guys a number one wide receiver, oh my God. Like, this offense could be dynamic. Like, could you imagine having a game plan against an offense? Let's say we added a top 10 wide receiver, whether it be through the draft or whether it be through a trade or whatever. But if you were able to ever get our A.J. Brown, for example, that the Eagles got, paired with Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones and Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot and the two tackles that, like, this and with the play callers that we have, this offense could get really good really fast. So I'm excited, man, and it's why I've been hammering the table to try to get some help in terms of the wide receiver, because you see the potential. We lead the league in rushing right now, and it looks like it's only getting better week over week in terms of the Daniel Jones's legs because of the added attention that Saquon Barkley brings to the table. So I think this offense has a lot of potential, man. Batista, how much would you be willing to give up for a receiver? Depends on the receiver. Each receiver has a different value for me. Younger receiver like Judy has a higher, obviously I'm willing to give up more than an older receiver like Brandon Cooks. So for me, the most I'd be willing to give up for Judy, and I don't even think I'd want to do it, but the absolute most would be a second round pick. I don't even think I'd want to do that. I'd be willing to give up 2/3. I'd be willing to give up 2/3 for Judy. The furthest I would go is a second, and I'd be leaning towards not wanting to do that. But that he's the receiver that's going to probably cost the most because of his age and his upside and everything else. But I definitely am not giving up a first round pick. And I think fans need to realize second round picks now more than likely aren't going to be the same value that they've been in the past. Second round pick now is not 37 anymore. Now it's going to be more like 50 or 52 or 53 if we're going to be making the playoffs. Obviously, we're going to be picking later. And we got the 100th overall pick for Tony. So I would entertain that for a guy like Judy because he's young, especially if I was Dable and felt like he could really fit in the offense that I could build with. I'm not giving up a first-round pick for any wide receiver, and I'd prefer not to give up a second. But, yeah, that's my take. As far as Cooks goes, I'm not even giving up a third for him, maybe a fourth, and that's only if you eat the majority of his salary. But, obviously, for Judy, I'd be willing to give up more because of his age and his upside. What's going on? Garv Manning's popping in the stream, buddy. Let's see. But thank you, Batista, man. I'm going to drop the link in like 10 minutes. We'll get a couple of you guys in here. Get to see your faces at least. Robert, Tony was the biggest first-round bust since Rocky Thompson. We've had a lot of big first-round busts, Robert, if we're being honest with ourselves. Eric Flowers, Eli Apple, DeAndre Baker. So we've had our fair share of first-round busts. Let's not kid ourselves, right? But, yeah, he's a big bust, no doubt about it. Couldn't get on the football field. I actually got asked this question. I don't remember if it was on Twitter. I think it was on Twitter. Maybe it was on YouTube. I can't remember because I was on so many podcasts the last couple of days. Do you think that Kadarius Toney was the biggest bust? And I think it was on Twitter. And a lot of people were saying yes. And, some people were saying Eric Flowers. Some people were saying Baker. The reason I don't think Toney's the biggest bust is because we were at least able to trade him. We were able to get something for him. The same thing with Eli Apple. We were at least able to get something for him. So for like DeAndre Baker, he walked and we got nothing. For Eric Flowers, he walked and we got nothing. So I would actually say that those two were worse first-round picks for the simple reason that the New York Giants were able to identify that this was a mistake. This is not a guy we wanted to push forward with, and let's at least get a third and sixth-round pick. With Flowers and Baker, we didn't do that. So Baker obviously due to off-the-field stuff, but that's why I would label those two first-round picks worse. But he's not a good one, obviously, a very bad one, especially when you factor in that we traded down. We had an opportunity to draft Micah Parsons. That may be something that haunts us for a very long time. But we'll forget about Micah Parsons real fast if Kayvon Thibodeau turns out to be what we hope he's going to be and what he looks like so far. And let's talk a little bit about Kayvon Thibodeau. By the way, I want to say hello to Thrill Collins, who's Dave Gettleman on Twitter. What's going on, Thrill? Let's talk a little bit about Kayvon Thibodeau. I don't know about you guys, but like during the offseason, didn't you hear like everybody was saying how Kayvon is this locker room distraction and how he's got this really bad personality and he's not going to fit in the locker room and yada, 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 yada. I've seen the complete opposite in Kayvon Thibodeau. They show a video today on Twitter. Of Kayvon Thibodeau, and the guy's dressed up in like a scream mask, scaring all of his teammates. They're all laughing it up. Looks like he's bringing the locker room together. It's very rare that you see that from a rookie. And as I'm watching that video, I'm like, wow, like that to me shows leadership. Like a rookie's taking on that role already. And the other thing that I was thinking about while I was watching that video, they really do not seem like they miss Kadarius Toney at all. Like a lot of times when you trade, an important player on the roster, which you figured he was viewed that way in that locker room, being that he was the projected number 1 or number 2 wide receiver going into the year. You worry about that as a fan. Is this going to affect the locker room? How are these guys going to react? Doesn't seem that way to me. It seems like these guys are rainbows and butterflies. Seems like they're getting along just fine, which usually you will when you're winning. But I love seeing what I'm seeing out of Tibbs, both his play on the field. The other thing that you heard about him, how he doesn't bring a lot of effort. All I've seen from Kayvon is effort. Did you see that play last week where Kayvon Thibodeau's chasing down the running back? I think it was Travis Etienne, 50 yards down the field. Like, that guy never gives up on a play. I love it. And let's see. Chris, man, thank you very much. I think Leo causes havoc and goes IK and Impali on Geno tomorrow. I hope so. Obviously, former teammates. That'd be cool. Geno Smith's having a really good year. I don't want to discount Geno Smith, but listen, going into tomorrow's game, I think that's got to be the game plan. We've been so bad against the run. I think we got to do everything in our power, and I worry about the edges. We've given up a lot of big runs off the edge, so we got to do a much better job sealing the edge. Obviously, Kenneth Walker's been really good. Seattle's got a good run offense, but that has to be the focal point on defense this week. We have got to extra attention in terms of stopping the run. 8 in the box. Do whatever you have to do. If Geno Smith beats me, especially if he's without his wide receivers, with both Lockett and Metcalf, maybe one will play, maybe both won't, maybe both will. I don't know. But if one of them is missing for sure, I'm putting 8 in the box the entire game. If Geno Smith beats me, he beats me. I'm not letting them grind out the clock with the run game, right? That's our game. That's what we want to do. So we can't get ran over with long sustaining drives for the Seahawks. Giants got to do a good job in terms of forcing Geno Smith to throw the football. And with that, hopefully will come sack opportunities. But that's got to be what we try to do tomorrow, man. That's got to be what we try to do tomorrow. Stop the run and force him to throw the football. Let's see what we got. Big Daddy. Cedric Jones, yeah, I remember Cedric Jones, 1996. He had an eye problem though, didn't he? Big Daddy, didn't he have like some kind of blindness in his eye, if I'm not mistaken, or I think he had some kind of physical issue, which caused him to retire early, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, yeah, he was a bust. He was fifth overall. He didn't work out very well in that 96 draft. And if I remember, that 96 draft was actually a pretty good one. I think Ray Lewis was in that 96 draft, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think he was. Marvin Harrison was in that 96 draft. I know that. But, yeah, we took Cedric Jones. That was a bad pick. Chris Singh. He says, looks like Kenny Golladay is getting with the program too. Yeah, I mean, he's saying all the right things, right? He's talking about how he wants to do whatever he can to help the team, block, run routes, whatever. And he's going to get an opportunity. I think he's going to get an opportunity this week. And, was Toomer? Yeah, Toomer's in the 96 draft, wasn't he? Yes. Second round, right? Let me pull up the 96 draft real quick. We'll look at that. I always like looking at past NFL drafts. Let me look at the 96 draft, and I think he was 96, Cedric Jones. Maybe he was 95. No, he was 96. Let's pull this up real quick. He was bad pick, though. Yes, for sure. Here it is. Here's your 96 draft. You had Keyshawn Johnson. The Jets got screwed, right? Because Peyton Manning was supposed to be the first pick that year. He decided to stay in school at Tennessee. And then he ended up coming out the next year and going to the Colts. Simeon Rice obviously turned out to be very good third overall. Ogden, one of the best tackles of all time. Then we take Cedric Jones. After we picked in the first round, Terry Glenn was a pretty good receiver. He had a great rookie year with the Patriots. Let's see. Eddie George, obviously the Heisman Trophy winner, had some great years with the Titans, the running back. Marvin Harrison right there, number 19 overall Hall of Famer. And then you got Ray Lewis, also a Hall of Famer. What a draft by the Baltimore Ravens. In the same draft, they get Ray Lewis and Jonathan Ogden. Holy crap. One of the best linebackers of all time and one of the best tackles of all time. Like, that's insane. And then in the second round, where are we? New York Giants. Amani Toomer, there he is, 34 overall. So he worked out pretty well. The Jets took Alex Van Dyke. I remember that pick. He didn't work out at all, but Amani Toomer turned out pretty good. Turned out pretty good. Let's see what we got. But thank you for popping in my MYG forever, man. Always see you supporting the streams. Let's see. Terry Glenn, she's a pretty good. He was a pretty good player. It was a male. He played for the Patriots. Let's see. The Ravens have always drafted well. Did DJ have a number one guy at Duke? Where's he at? No. DJ Wellier was at Duke, led the nation in drops there as well. So he's used to this. They led the nation in drop passes. So this is nothing new to him, having crappy wide receivers. Goes to show it's not where you pick, it's how well you pick. It's also how well I think Conway, I think what this year has done for me, at least as a fan, it's also how well you coach. Because we've seen these coaches now turn players that we thought were bad or pretty good into great or good. So coaching has a lot to do with it too, right? You could draft well, but if you don't have the guy that could get the most out of their abilities, it's not always going to work out. A Madden Mind man says, you're right, Chris. They don't miss Tony, and KT is mature for his age, and OBJ reunion a possibility. You know what, man? I'll say it's a possibility. I will. I'm not going to say it's a probability. I'll say it's a possibility. Because when people were asking me about OBJ like a month ago, I was of the assumption that the New York Giants were going to be completely, if not out of it, just like kind of like in the middle, like 4-3 at this point, or 3-4, 4-3, and not in like a clear win now mode, which they are now. So I'll label it possible. But the thing is, we don't have a whole lot of money. So if a team's willing to offer him a decent contract, the Giants just aren't going to be able to offer it. So I guess it'll come down to that. What his market is, what teams are willing to give him. But will at least be a win now situation, and he would clearly be stepping into a situation where he would be able to get a ton of targets. So I suppose it's possible. I'm not going to rule it out, but I still don't think it's a probability. I'll label it a small possibility. Chris, man, thank you very much, man. Do you think NEG can rewrite the narrative? No, I don't. Well, it depends on what your version of rewrite the narrative means. And what's going on, Rico Manning's popping in the stream, man. I'm going to pop, you know what? I'm going to pop that link in there now, anybody that wants to pop in. But going back to your question about the narrative, no, I don't think he could rewrite the narrative. But again, it depends on what your definition is. If your definition of the narrative is, can he still help this team win football games? I'm going to say, yes, he can. But if your definition of the narrative is, can he live up to that contract? Can we look back at time and say that was a good signing by the New York Giants? No, that time has long passed. But that doesn't mean that he can't contribute to help this team win football games. And he's going to get that opportunity to do that. So I guess it all depends on what your definition of rewrite the narrative is. So that's my answer to your question. He will never live up to that contract, but could he help produce this year? Sure. Hopefully he gets out there and he does. We could certainly use the help. I loved what he said in the interview. And yeah, hopefully he takes it to heart, and hopefully he wants to go out there, and hopefully with the New York Giants winning football games, it inspires him to put his best foot forward. That's all I could hope as a New York Giant fan. When you're winning football games, it gives you more incentive to try to go out there and play well. I'm going to drop the link again for anybody that wants to pop in. I think we got two people waiting right now. I'll wait till a couple more pop in if they want to come in. Saber says OBJ looked good coming off the injury last year. He did, but was it the same injury as this? So Saber, I don't know if it was. I mean, maybe it was. Maybe I don't remember. Maybe it was the same injury. We'll see. I mean, listen, we'll see. Anything is an upgrade at this point. What, in terms of the wide receiver position? Yeah, obviously. And yeah, hit the like button. I appreciate it, Karen. Yeah, you just hit the like button. It helps keep the channel in the algorithm. Yeah, hit the like button. I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words, Karen, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, anybody watching, hit the like. I appreciate you guys for always tuning in, talking sports with me on a Saturday night, getting ready for the Giants game tomorrow. Always appreciate the support that all you guys show, and whether you agree with me or whether you don't, always have fun talking sports with you guys. So thank you, man. I appreciate it, buddy. It was an ACL as well. Okay. Let's see. Different leg. He'll be fine, though. Watch the comeback. OBJ 13. Hey, man, I hope he does. I hope he comes back. And if he's a Giant, I hope he performs here. We'll see. We'll see if he's able to do it. Let me get rid of this real quick. I think I got 3 callers waiting right now. We'll see if we get a couple more. Let's pop on the first one while we're waiting. Joe Madden, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's happening, Chris? How you doing?
What's going on, man?
Oh, not much, man. Just enjoying the season. It's good to see the Knicks winning a couple of games, starting good, and the Giants winning games. That's a rare sight.
Yeah, what is that? An RJ Barrett jersey?
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah, it's on my daughter. Yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So what's up, man?
No, I'm interested to see now what happens trade deadline. I'm kind of where I think they do need to make some sort of move for a wide receiver. I think we need to see a little bit more out of Jones in the passing game before we kind of have to figure out his contract situation.
Right.
But on the other hand, I feel like this is still a rebuild. We still have holes. And I feel like I don't want to trade like high-end draft capital, first, second, even third-round picks.
And I think that's a very fair perspective to have. And I will not. I've gone out and said, as much as I have pushed for them to get a wide receiver, if the right deal is there, I don't want them to go overboard. But if the right deal is there, I'm completely for them doing that. I'm gonna try to show my camera again real quick. We'll see if it conks out again. But as much as I'm completely for them going out there and getting a wide receiver, I also see the other side, like you just said. So if the Giants stand pat and they don't make any moves, I'll understand that as well. Like I understand that this is a multi-year process, that this is not just about this year. It's about the next 10 years, the next 15 years.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I like you. I don't want them to go crazy. I am of the mindset now that I do want to push forward with Jones at least for another year. I don't need a wide receiver to prove that to me based on where I think we're going to be picking in the draft. So I don't want them to have to force that if they don't have to. If you want to wait until next offseason to go and get them some more help, go ahead and do that. But I agree with you. I don't want them to force giving up high draft capital to get a wide receiver.
Yeah. See what I feel about Jones is I agree he's definitely back next year. I think you need to bring him back next year. To be honest with you, if you want to keep going forward, even as a team, what other option do we have at quarterback? We're not going to be high enough in the draft. There's going to be no free agents that year past. So kind of no other choice to run with Jones, and I'd be happy to run back with Jones. To me, bringing the wide receiver in now gives you 10 games, and you can get his contract situated. If you see 10 games and a good playoff appearance and see progress in the passing game, you can get this contract done this offseason instead of having to wait and bring a rookie receiver in or sign a receiver and then have to go another year and without making the decision to pay him. I think you have a 10-game sample after tomorrow. You'll have a 9-game sample size, which is enough to bring in a receiver and see what he has and then get a contract done this season.
Yeah, I think I'm in complete agreement with you. I'm going to answer. We're both going to answer this question for Bill. Tina and Joe, if DJ's agent asked for 4 years at $28 million per to sign right now, what do you say?
No.
Probably no. Probably no. I'd probably want a 3-year deal, but I'd want to structure it in a way where if things really go south, I could get out after 1.
I'm in around the 20 million mark with Jones. If you
listen, I'm okay. Me personally, I'm okay around that number. But it just comes down to being able to get out after 1. I'm willing to give him 25 per year, 26 per year, but I need to be able to get out after 1.
Yeah.
I need that option. Now, if he continues to grow, I either keep him on the second year of that deal or we talk a more healthy extension. But I don't want to have to commit more than really 1 year to him after this year.
So
I know it would technically be 3 years, but no, really I don't want to have to commit more than 1 year.
So you're talking like 25 million, 3-year deal, 1 + 2 or 2 + 1.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I've shown this example on other streams before. I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking. This is what I'm talking. Because people hear the contract details and they hear the dollar amount, they hear the years and they go crazy. It's not about the dollar amount. It's about the guaranteed money. That's the way that the NFL works.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said it several times. The Derek Carr contract is exactly what I would try to mimic if I was the New York Giants and I had to extend Daniel Jones. So if you look at the top, it's 3 years, $121 million. People go crazy. That's $40 million a year. But it was only if you look at year 1, it's $20 million cap hit, $24 million dead cap hit. So they only committed $20 million to him this year. The next year, it's $35 million, but it's only a $5 million dead cap hit. So they could cut him next year and only cost him $5 million. So that's the type of contract that I would structure for Daniel Jones. If the first year is 25, 26, 27, as long as I have the option, if things go south, to be able to maneuver and get out of his contract after year one, that's what I would do if I was the general manager. I wouldn't want to have to give him a 5-year commitment. I'd be like, listen, I like you. I think you're definitely growing. You're getting in the right direction. I need to see a little bit further proof before I'm willing to give you that 5-year commitment. But I'd be willing to give him a healthy raise, and give him what essentially is a 1-year deal, a prove-it deal. And if you play well, we'll talk about a further extension. That would be my approach.
What's his tag number?
It's $32 million, and you can't move that money around.
They're not doing that.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to give him his option. They're not going to tie him with $30 million. They probably tag Saquon quicker than they'll tag Daniel.
Yeah, the tag to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I don't think they're going to go the tag route, and I don't think they're going to tag Saquon either because I don't think Saquon's going to play on the tag.
You think he'll sit out if they tag him?
I do. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. If I was Saquon's agent, I'd tell him to sit out if they tagged him.
The injury history, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a running back, and it's really his only real window to get a big contract. So,
but at the same time, it's like the Giants are looking at it. Yeah, the injury, you want to get paid because your injury history, but injury history, it's like, do we need to lock a running back up at 10, 15 million for the next 4 years and haunt like the Cowboys have? Like, I love Saquon, he's playing unbelievable, but the history shows you got to run him back for 4 or 5 years in his rookie deal and let him walk no matter what he's doing, because after, even especially with Saquon's injury history, it's 4 years. Like the Cowboys are hitting it now because Zeke. Was it the Rams should have won a Super Bowl sooner only because Todd Gurley's contract? They won a Super Bowl after because they got out of his money and they were able to spend it, but that tied them up on cap. So it's not a good idea extending him past the 2 or 3 year deal.
I understand.
I look to tag him before I give him even the 2 year deal. And see, that's why I thought the franchise tag Saquon, that's where that'd go.
Maybe they try that approach, but I doubt Saquon plays on the franchise tag. I think they're going to have to give Saquon some kind of contract. I don't want to give him a Zeke deal. I've said that several times. I don't want to give him a 6-year deal. But
Zeke was 6, wasn't it?
Yeah, Zeke was 6 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. But for Saquon, I think in the end it's going to be a 4-year deal with the ability to get it after 3. That's what I think if we're gonna sign him. That's what it's going to come down to. I think it's going to be a 4-year deal with the ability to get it after 3.
Can't give him a lot of guaranteed money either because he has to hit numbers and he has to hit like playing not guaranteed number, but like playing time. Because that's to me with locking boys up. It's like DJ and Jones are a key to what we're doing now, but now it's contract time for both of them, and both of them major injury history.
That's going to be the after the season, after we win the Super Bowl this year. That's going to be the topic of conversation. What do you do with Saquon? What do you do with Daniel Jones? What do you do with Julian Love? What do you do? You know, we have a lot of free agents that are coming up that were not Joe Shane guys. And he's going to have a lot of decisions to make. So those are going to be the first 2 guys for sure. Jones
I got killed on Twitter if the Giants were offered a first for Saquon. This was after the McCaffrey trade. I was like, if the Giants were offered a first for Saquon, they should take it and run with it. And people kill me for it. I was like, no, because you get out of his money, you don't have to pay him, and you get a first.
I understand where you're coming from, but I can't get with a 6-1 start and the way he's played. They can't trade him. I understand.
Right now with the record, no.
When you think I think when you talk about those like when they traded McCaffrey, I think the Giants were 5 or 6-1, right? But when you talk about those trades, like those fantasy trades or whatever you want to call it, you also have to think of it from the context of the locker room. If you trade Saquon Barkley in a team that you're trying to instill a winning culture, that you're trying to build a strong locker room, and you're trying to show these guys we really care about winning football games, and after a 5-1 or 6-1 start, you go out and trade Saquon Barkley for a first-round pick next year, what does that tell all the guys in the locker room? So
no, I agree. Like we're trying to win now. I was just back then it was like 6-1. It's like if you lose a game or 2, right, and you're closer to 500, say. And Saquon's still playing at this level, and you're offered a first, then you should take it.
If we were 2-5 or 3-4, that's different. That's a different conversation, but we're not. So I think the
Yeah.
Giants made the right decision. You pushed forward, and at the end of the year, if Barkley remains healthy, you try to work out a solid extension, but you don't want to overcommit to him.
Tom, how much cap space do we have in total? Because that's going to be, we talked a lot, where people were talking last year about all the money we might have this year. That, because we're winning now, is going to be cut in half, or I don't even know how much we're going to have left after paying dudes. Because
It's tough.
isn't Dex is up too, right? Or did he have an
Oh no,
option they picked up?
we signed Dex on the 5-year extension, on the 5th-year extension before the year started.
Okay.
So that's already baked in. There's things they could do to get more cap space, though. Like, for instance, they could extend Leonard Williams, who right now is their biggest hit on the cap next year because of all the backloading. I think it's like $32 million against the cap, but say they extend them on a 3 or 4-year deal, they could spread the money out. Like, if they feel like Leo's going to be in their long-term plans and they want to continue to push forward with him, they could extend them. Say they want to extend them on a 3-year, $60 million deal. Let's just throw that out there as an example. You could then spread that money out, and it won't be a $32 million hit next year. Maybe now it's a $16 million hit, and it'll give you some money to sign some other players. So there's things they could do.
Can Galladay be cut next year? Or is that the year after? I know
Galladay's going to be
deal.
cut. Galladay's going to be cut. Yeah, it'll save us about $7 million.
I wonder, could they sell low at him at the deadline, like, and get a 7th for him and eat half his money, or get a 6th and eat half his money if a team got desperate, like the Packers or the Ravens?
The deadline's in 2 days, so I don't think that's going to happen. He's not even playing right now; he's hurt, so I don't see that happening. So no, we're gonna roll with Galladay for the rest of the year. Hope he can contribute, and then next year we're gonna cut him. We'll save our $7 million and we'll move on. So he doesn't fit the offense either. So I think it's better for him too, to be honest with you. But Joe, I'm going to let you go. I got a couple more people waiting, but thank you so much for calling in. Thank you for the support. And I appreciate you for being a great subscriber on the channel, man.
I appreciate it, brother. Have a good one. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
You too, Joe. All right. Let me, my camera may be breaking up again. If it is, let me know in the chat. It probably is. I see it's low on the bars. I'll get rid of the video. I feel like when the video is smaller, though, it doesn't bother you guys quite as much. It's when it's really large. So when I bring on callers, maybe I'll leave it up there, even though it's breaking up a bit. Brett says it's definitely a rebuild. I'm going to bring Sam on while I'm reading this. It's definitely a rebuild still, but you have to be psyched. Judy would be huge. He would be the only quality receiver that can run routes. G-Men might be totally legit with a wide receiver 1. Yeah, I think Judy is. I'll get rid of it because I see somebody say I'm glitching. You guys, I don't think it bothers you guys if my camera's not being shown anyway. You guys could still hear the audio. I think there are situations like Judy, like younger wide receivers, where you can be, I guess, in quote unquote rebuild mode, still be thinking towards the future, but still make a trade to bring in a younger player that will help both out the present and the future. So yes, I think there are moves that you could do that. And I think there are other moves, like a move like Cooks, if it made sense, where it doesn't really disrupt the rebuild and it helps the present. If you only give up a 4th or 5th round pick and you just acquired a 3rd and 6th for Tony and it doesn't affect future cap space, where you could do things like that and it doesn't really affect the future of your football team. So I think Shane is going to make a trade if it makes sense, not just for this year, but for future years. If it doesn't affect the future, and it's a move that's intended more for the present, he may still go ahead and do that. But he's not going to give away premium draft capital. But I think you could acquire a guy like Judy, and it could still make sense both for the present and the future, especially if you identify him as a guy that you could push forward with for the next 4, 5, 6 years, right? You think about what the Cowboys did with Amari Cooper when they gave up actually a 1st-round pick to bring him in. I wouldn't want to have to give up a 1st-round pick. Maybe I'd be willing to give up a 2nd. But a lot of people were off the books on Cooper. He went to Dallas. He turned his career back around. So we'll see. It'll be intriguing to see if the New York Giants do make any moves at the deadline, though. But Sam, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Chris? How are you?
Good to see you, man. What's going on, man?
So obviously all the big news right now is who we're getting at the deadline. Who is out of all the names we've heard so far, like Cooks, Moore, either of the Moores, Judy, Claypool, who would you choose if you had like the ideal pick? Who's your guy?
Again, I guess the price is equal for every single player?
Well,
the price has to be factored in.
I think DJ Moore, I think is he's going to warrant a 1st-round pick. I think he's not too far from how good AJ Brown was.
Yeah. So when you ask me these questions, give me what the price is.
Okay, so let's say a 1st, and Philly gave up a 1st and a 3rd for Brown. So let's just say a 1st for DJ Moore.
I'm out already. Because especially with the salary, I'm not already on him. Keep going.
I think Judy would cost, since we have a late second. It's not like how it's been years prior. I think it'd cost us a second round pick for Judy.
Okay, keep going.
Second and a fourth, something like that.
Okay, keep going.
I think for Brandon Cooks, a report today said that they want a second and a day 3 pick, but I don't think
if they even approach a second with me, I'm out on Cooks. Keep going.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous because they traded Hopkins away for a second round pick. I don't think they see Brandon Cooks in that same area, and I don't know what Claypool would really cost you.
I think I've heard with Claypool it's like a third.
So I think that probably the same thing as Judy, around that price range, something like that.
If I'm picking Judy. This is and I know a lot of Giants fans that are thinking strictly rebuild are going to be like, no, I don't want. If I'm giving up a second and a fourth, I just got a third and a sixth. I just got a third and a sixth for Tony. So if I give up a second and a fourth for a wide receiver that's 22, 23 years old, that second is not the 35th pick. That's like the 50th pick, maybe even later than that, because you have to figure we're making the playoffs, especially if we had Judy.
That's like the Aziz pick that we had when we kept trading down that one year around.
Yeah, 55. We basically brought in the 100th pick, and we're giving up the 50th pick. We'll just say that, and we're bringing in Jerry Jeudy, a young wide receiver that you could build with. You hope for the next 5 years. So out of all those options you just gave me, Jerry Jeudy.
I like Jeudy too, and he's probably my favorite. But the one thing that I don't like about Jeudy is he drops the ball a lot.
I understand he's had a lot of drops, and that's fair. And if the Giants are scared off by that, they are. I think he's one of the better route runners in the league. He's got a lot of potential, but yeah, he's had drop problems. I think if I remember, Amari Cooper had drop problems too before the Cowboys signed him. But yeah, if that continues to be if they're scared that could continue to be a problem, they probably won't trade for him.
But I don't know if it'd be more so the Giants. I think if you look at, I think the New York media would kill Jeudy, even though he's known as a guy who's dropped passes. Since we've seen so many drops, I think he would get so much more hate than he would deserve because we had so many guys. And I feel like people would get upset that we traded for another guy who can't catch.
Listen, I'm not gonna be upset either way. But if you ask me my preference out of all those guys, I'm taking Jeudy.
And now this goes
now. If I get Cooks for a 5th round pick, I might go Cooks.
Yeah, I think if we can get Cooks for anything, a 4th and
even a 4th, I probably, if it's exclusively a 4th and they're eating a large portion of his contract, I'd probably go Cooks. But if you're talking about a second for Cooks, no, absolutely not.
Now, this is a 2-part question. Now, let's say we do get Jeudy and he has a good year, and Jones, let's just say, ends the year with 24 touchdowns like his rookie year and throws 9 interceptions because it doesn't look like he's been turning the ball over too much. So, yeah, I think he could stay under the double-digit mark, but let's say he throws 9.
Hold on one second. I'm seeing people in the chat saying that Lockett – I'm ready as a game-time decision. Has that changed, guys? I see people in the chat saying that Lockett's been ruled out. I can't imagine he'd be ruled out tonight.
Yeah, I think that would be tomorrow.
I think that'd be tomorrow. So let me know in the chat. I see a couple people saying that he's ruled out. Maybe there's rumors on Twitter. I don't know. But
hopefully he gets better. But I mean, I wouldn't mind not having to play.
No. I hope he gets better. I hope he feels great. Just maybe not tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe not tomorrow. I wouldn't mind not playing the Seahawks without DK and Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, exactly. But go ahead, buddy.
So let's say Jones ends the year off 24 touchdowns and less than 10 interceptions. Let's say he has kind of like a Kirk Cousins year. Okay. And we could think all we want that he would take a discounted thing, but let's be serious. Do you really think that his agent would let him take a Derek Carr contract? Because
yes.
I don't.
Because what? Well, here's the thing. This is what I do if I'm the Giants. I approach Jones with that offer, a similar offer to like a Derek Carr contract, where he gets, say, $25, $26 million up front. He gets $40, $50 million guaranteed, some of that bonuses, however they construct the contract. But whatever it is, I'm able to get out after the first year if things go sour. I approach him with that deal, okay? I approach him with that deal in March, before free agency, whatever, before the franchise tag deadline. If his agent and him say no, I tag him. I tag him to the $32 million offer, and then I try to work out a contract before the year starts. And if I'm able to work out a contract, I rip the tag up. If I'm not able to work out a contract, he plays on the tag. Because I don't even let him reach the open market. I don't even let him have a market if I'm the Giants general manager and I want to bring him back. I approach him with a deal like Carr. If he says no, I tag him, and then I continue to try to work out a deal before the year starts.
Yeah, I was listening to another show, and I didn't really know if if his agent would take something like that, because if he has a good year, I don't know if his agent would sit there and say, we really want to take a contract.
Then you tag him. Then you tag him. You play hardball. You tag him at that point.
And if he still doesn't go, do you play him on the tag where he makes $30 million for that year?
You have to, yeah. It's 1 year, $30 million, and then if somebody asked for the StreamYard link, I just put it. If that's what it comes down to, that's what it comes down to. You play him on the $30 million tag, and then if he has a big year, then you talk a multi-year extension. At that point, he's earned it, right? He's gotten better and better and better and better. And if the team plays really well and we advance in the playoffs, then you talk about a multi-year extension. But I'm not giving him more than a 1 year commitment after this year, outside of him, winning a Super Bowl this year or having some magical playoff run. But outside of that, I don't want to have to commit more than 1 year.
Yeah, I really like the way that Jones is, and I really like the way he's played this year. It's like he's not playing scared like how I feel like he used to, but he's not turning it over either. I really think this coaching staff is exactly what he needed, and I think that given another year under the same system, if we get him another receiver, I think he could be a top 10 quarterback in the league.
I agree with you.
I don't think that's crazy to say anymore. I know some people would think Daniel Jones.
Let's look around the league with the chat. And I know like a lot of fans hear top 10. They're like, no way, because that's like such like a prestigious number. There's not a lot of good quarterbacks right now. Like, let's look around the league right now. Let's go to the standings real quick. Let's point out team by team. And I'm not saying he's top 10 yet. He's not. Not yet. But let's look around the league. Let's look around the league right now. Josh Allen, he's not passing. Zach Wilson, I think that's fair to say you could pass him, right?
Yeah, I think he's better than Zach Wilson.
Tua Tagovailoa, is that crazy to say he could be better than him or is better than him?
I think he is better than him. I think if you gave Daniel Jones, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, and Cedric Wilson.
Tua's got 9 touchdowns. He threw 6 in one game.
Yeah, I think if you gave Daniel Jones his weapons, I think we'd be talking about Jones a little better than we even are now.
I agree with you. I like him more than Tua. Mac Jones, I think we're going Daniel Jones, right?
Yeah.
So that's 3 quarterbacks already. Lamar Jackson, I think most people are going Lamar. Joe Burrow, I think most people are going Joe Burrow right now. Cleveland, he's not playing right now. Their current quarterback, Daniel Jones, is better than, right?
Yeah.
Steelers, Jones is better than right now. So far we got 3 quarterbacks that are definitely better than Daniel Jones. Tennessee, I think I'm taking Daniel Jones over Ryan Tannehill at this point.
I am too.
Is that crazy? Let me get the chat's reaction to this. I'm curious. I don't think it's crazy to think Daniel Jones is better than Ryan Tannehill.
I never thought Tannehill was that good. I always just thought that he looked a lot better because he had guys like Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown.
I don't think that's crazy to think that. So I'm going to say he's better than him, or he's at least on par with him. Right now, Matt Ryan just got replaced. I mean, he's not the quarterback anymore. Is it crazy to think at this point he's at least on par or slightly better than Trevor Lawrence? I understand Trevor Lawrence has a high ceiling.
Yeah, I think in a couple of years, Lawrence will be a top 5 guy. But right now, I think I'm taking Jones over Lawrence.
It's at least close to on par. Let's put it this way. It's not crazy to say he's better than Lawrence right now. So still, there's only 3 definitive quarterbacks so far. He's better than Davis Mills with Houston. Mahomes is clearly better. That's 4. Herbert is better. That's 5. Carr. What about Carr?
I don't know about Derek Carr. I think that right now they might be on the same tier. Maybe if you want to edge Carr a little bit, but I think it's neck and neck.
It's close for me. Well, you know what? We'll say Carr for now. But let's put it this way, because we're talking about whether or not he could reach the top 10. So let me ask the chat this. Not whether or not who's better. Do you think by the end of the year Jones can surpass Carr? I think that's the better question. Not whether or not Jones is better right now. By the end of the year, do you think Jones can surpass Carr? But let's go Carr.
Easier with a Devontae Adams.
Let's go. Let's stay Carr for now. Let's say Carr for now. That's 6. I think he's better than Russell Wilson right now. Have you seen Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson has looked terrible this year. And I don't know if it's Hackett or if he's fell off or if it's a mixture of both, but I don't know how you go from 26 touchdowns last year and like 3 interceptions before you get hurt to playing how he is now.
So Yeah, I think he's better than Russell Wilson right now. Jalen Hurts, obviously everybody that looks at stats is going to say Jalen Hurts, and he's playing great.
I think Daniel Jones is better than Jalen Hurts. I had this debate with my friend that's an Eagles fan, and I don't think Jalen Hurts, given what the Giants' situation is, I don't think Jalen Hurts would be able to do what Jones is doing.
I think Jones is putting up at least equal stats to Hurts if he's with the Eagles. You give Daniel Jones that offensive line and those wide receivers.
Daniel Jones is given he has a extra game, but he has more rushing yards on the ground, and he only has, I think, 2 less total touchdowns than Hurts does.
So I don't think it's crazy to say he's at least on par with Hurts. I know statistically he's not, and I know Hurts is like an MVP candidate, but look at the team that Hurts has.
I don't know how he's an MVP candidate.
Here is a good question. Here is a good question for you in the chat. And I know this is sacrilegious. How about Dak?
I mean, I think I'd edge Dak a little bit, but I don't think Dak is that much better.
Here's the question. Can he pass Dak by the end of the year?
I think so. I think if we get him a legit number 1 receiver this offseason or during the deadline, I think he'll be better.
I don't think that's crazy to think he could pass Dak this year. I really don't. But I've never been a huge fan of Dak. I really don't think it's crazy to think he could pass Dak. Let's keep going. Washington, he's better than Wentz. Vikings, Cousins. I'd give Cousins the edge for now, but we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if he at least equals him by the end of the year. You still got to go Rodgers with the Packers. So we'll say Rodgers, even though Rodgers playing really bad right now. But I think you still got to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's back-to-back MVPs.
I think he's better than Fields and Goff. He's
better than Fields and Goff. He's better than Mariota.
I mean, guys, what? Matt Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think any of those guys.
He's better than whoever Carolina's throwing out there. He's better than whoever New Orleans is throwing out there. I still say he's better than Geno Smith. I know Geno Smith's putting up really good stats. Is he better than Matt Stafford right now?
I think so.
He's better than Garoppolo, I would say.
I think he's better than Kyler Murray, too. Right now, Kyler Murray looks awful.
Like, if you look over the league right now, I think it's fair to say that he can be a top 10 quarterback by the end of the year. I think it's fair to say. I don't think there's 10 quarterbacks I look at in the NFL right now, and I won't go as far to say that. Did I lose you? I think I lost you, Sam. Oh no, I didn't lose you.
No, I'm here.
Let me get rid of this. I don't think that there's 10 quarterbacks in the league right now that I say to myself, there's no way that Daniel Jones could be as good as or better than him by the end of the year. That's what I'll say. I'm not saying I'd rank Daniel Jones in the top 10 right now, but I don't think it's crazy to think he could be a top 10 quarterback by the end of the year, especially if you had him a wide receiver.
Especially with the way that these older quarterbacks that we've had on pedestals for so long, like Rodgers and Brady, have looked. They might not be top 10 guys at the end of the year, right? I mean, it sounds crazy to think, but like Tom Brady and Rodgers are on the decline. They haven't looked great. Rodgers lost 3 games. I'm pretty sure it was 3 back-to-back weeks against us, the Jets, and Washington.
Yeah. So I don't think it's crazy. I really don't. Ibuprofen says DJ has to outplay Geno this week. Geno has better numbers right now and is beating DJ for the best story in the NFL this year. I hope he does. I mean, it's going to be tough, right? Seattle's a tough place to play. I'm not going to discount that, right? Seattle's got great home field advantage. So we'll see. I do think Jones is going to have success tomorrow, though. And I am picking the Giants to win. Obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle wins, but I think Jones is going to have a good game. I think we're going to be able to run on them at will. Their run defense is horrible. So
I'm just scared what Kenneth Walker will do to us.
I am. I think on both sides of the ball, you got to worry about the run defense. I think both the Giants and Seattle is going to be able to run.
I think if DK and Tyler Lockett are both out, I think that makes it a lot easier on us, though. I think even if one of them is out, I say we stack the box all game and make Geno Smith win. Because if they don't have DK or either Tyler Lockett, he's throwing them Marquise Goodwin, guys like that.
That has to be the game plan. You have to force Geno to beat you.
If Marquise Goodwin beats us and he's getting wide open all over us, then we got a problem.
Now, if they have the 2 wide receivers, you're going with a different game plan. But if both those guys are out, you have to force Geno to beat you with his arm. Have to. Bodo, what's going on, man? Mentally, he's already past Dak. Dak does not have the mentality to be a killer quarterback. So he's talking about what's up, Bodo, man? Good to see you, buddy. So he's kind of hinting at Dak's inability to win big games in the playoffs. I mean, to be fair, Jones hasn't won any playoff games yet. So I I got to see evidence of that. But yeah, Dak definitely comes up small in big games. There's no doubt about it throughout his career. I mean, this past year against San Francisco in the playoffs, I mean, that play at the end of the game was, what are you doing, bro? So he definitely comes up small in big spots. But Sam, I'm going to let you go. I got a bunch more people started calling in, so I'm going to try to get to them. But give me your final score tomorrow, by the way. What's your prediction?
It varies. Are DK and Tyler Lockett playing, or are they out?
All right, let's say they don't play, because I'm actually going to assume let's say Lockett plays, but DK doesn't, because I think it's more likely DK's not going to play than Lockett. So let's say DK's out and Lockett's in.
If Lockett's in and they don't have DK, I think we win by a touchdown. I think it'll be something like 17-24, 17-27, something like that. Because if they don't have their number one and maybe their number two guy, and you could stack the box, I don't know how Geno Smith is going to go down and score.
You picked my prediction. I think I said 24-17 on one of the podcasts the other night. So that's kind of where I have it. 24-17 Giants, 24-20 Giants. So I'm kind of in agreement with you. That's where I see it. I see it being played in the low 20s, like where the Giants like it. I think we control the clock. I think we win the time of possession. And I think we win a football game, because I don't think Seattle's going to stop our ground attack. I really believe that. But Sam, man, enjoy the game tomorrow. Thank you so much for calling in. And hopefully you bring some good luck to the Giants.
Have a good one. Let's go 7-1.
Let's go, Sam. Thanks for calling in, buddy. All right. Let's get Matt C. I seen him. He's been waiting for a bit. Or Conmac, actually. I thought Matt C was next, but
Hey,
Conmac
can you hear me?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
What's up, my man? First of all, I just want to point out the weight loss. Fantastic. You look great.
I appreciate that, man. How you been?
I was looking with you and Bad Dog stream yesterday. Yeah, you look so much better. I'm happy for you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, buddy.
And I'm gonna be honest. My agenda.
You're breaking up, man. I don't know if that. No, you're good now. You're good now.
Oh, all right. I want Brandon Cooks. Like
you want Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, almost as much as Judy. I was thinking about it, right? Okay, 18 million. I know next year is a lot, but 13 million in 2024 is a lot cheaper. And now with the wide receiver market, receivers are making 30 million a year, like Kirk. You know.
Well, the other thing I'm going to say about Cooks, I don't think we're going to have to. I think if we trade for him, I don't think we're going to have to pay him all that. I think they're going to have to eat some of that money.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even think we're going to have to pay him whatever his salary is next year.
Exactly. And his value probably right now is, if you could get him for the right price, like a 4th round pick, maybe our worst 3rd round pick at most, but that's the most I'm willing to give up.
If you could get Cooks for a 4th round pick and they eat the majority of his contract after this year, or I'm only committed to like a very reasonable contract after this year for next year, yeah, I'm intrigued by Cooks, because I do think he could be a piece for the next couple of years on a very cheap price if they're willing to eat some of that contract. So
yeah,
it comes down to me what they're willing to eat. But if they were willing to eat a large portion of the contract, I'd be intrigued by it.
Yeah, plus he's a low-end wide receiver 1. You know, he's never really been like a guy that's been unreliable. His hands are okay.
Chris D, but Chris D, he says we have no money. Cooks this year, he's not going to cost you anything this year.
Yeah, this is true.
His contract this year, I think I saw, is like next to nothing. So we do have money to pay him for this year, and next year it would come down to how much they're willing to eat.
Yeah, and the problem with me with Judy is, like, I don't want to give up a 2nd round pick, because I know it will be a low 2nd round pick, but we can get a receiver with the 2nd round pick, you know?
That's fair.
And sure, the money will be cheap, but like what really scares me is the drops, because we already have 8 guys dropping a ball game. So you add Judy to that, and you're like, we have no receiver, maybe other than Wandale, catching, being a reliable receiver. I mean, he's been making good grabs, but you can't be expecting that 10, 11 times a game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I understand. That's what Giants fans have been saying with Judy. What scares them off is the drops, and it's fair. I mean, we've had a lot of wide receivers that have dropped, balls, and we've gotten on them, whether it be Evan Ingram, whether it be Darius Slayton. So we've had our drop problems in the past. So I get it. I get why Giants fans are reluctant to do that. I'm intrigued by Judy's upside, because he's still so young.
I am too.
And he's got so much potential, and he's a great route runner. So I'm intrigued by it, but I do understand the reluctancy to trade for him by Giants fans because of the drop problems. I can see where you're coming from.
And I will say, if we're down and Bad Dog is raging, I expect Adam 3-4 to come back, and expect. Sorry. the Roy Dog comments to come back.
I will. I'll be looking forward to that tomorrow.
Yeah, I made my profile picture. I made
All
my
right,
profile
man.
picture Andrew Tate, and yeah, that's all you need to know. But a receiver that does actually intrigue me, I don't know if you talked about him earlier before I joined, is Denzel Mims, because his value is probably maximum of
I didn't
sixth.
talk about him. I haven't even looked into Mims. Are the Jets not playing him anymore at all?
They're not playing at him. He asked for a trade. He has 4 yards on the year. He has like 8 total snaps.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Yeah, he's not playing, and he was asking for a trade before the year started. If you
Yeah.
could get Denzel Mims for like a fifth, like a 6th-round pick, which is what I would imagine the price would be right now, his contract's next to nothing.
I know.
I would take a shot on him. Why not?
And in the preseason this year, I know you can't really count preseason, but when he played his rookie year, he was making contested catches. He was getting separation. Maybe we can ask Hibbert or something. I don't know why they're not playing him. Maybe because the depth they have, but he's looked like a great receiver, and his his cap hit's going to be like, well, not cap hit, but what he'll be making a year because he's on a rookie contract is like $2 million. So you might as well invest a 6th-round pick because you're not really going to get great value in that round.
Listen, if you get him for next to nothing, that's the type of move that no Giants fans could really complain about. A young wide receiver with potential that many thought was a 1st-round prospect coming out, but you also got to question why the Jets aren't playing the guy.
Yeah,
but,
that's true. Maybe he's the locker room cancer,
or maybe he's just not very good.
Yeah,
you know. So we'll see. But I'm excited for the trade deadline because I think we're at least going to be active. I don't know if we're going to make a trade or not, but I think we're going to be active. I think the Giants are going to, if there's a deal there that makes sense, I think they're going to pull the trigger because Joe Shane is trying to build a winning culture. Brian Dable's trying to build a winning culture, and to instill confidence in your players, you go out and you add a piece to this team. That's going to get this team fired up, man. That's going to get them to continue to believe in themselves and continue to try to push forward in the second half. So I think if it makes sense, I think the Giants are going to make an ad. And maybe it's not a wide receiver. Maybe it's a linebacker. Maybe it's a cornerback. I don't know. But
no.
I think they're going to explore the market, and I think it's very possible we end up with another piece with this team by Tuesday.
Yeah, I do agree. I really do think we're going to make a move. Whether, is it under the radar move where it's like 6th-round pick, or maybe we bundle like swap 5ths and we maybe give like a 3rd for some random receiver. I can't name any. Maybe like a Kendrick Bourne. One person I would really love, but he's not on the trade block, is Jacoby Myers. I actually love his potential, and he's never used in New England. He won't get traded.
People have brought him up to me too with Myers, and he's kind of been knocked down on the bench there as well. So maybe we'll go after him. I don't know. Those are the guys that make a lot of sense if you could get them because they're not going to cost anything.
Yeah.
The Denzel Mims, the Jacoby Myers, if you like them. So maybe they go that route. Maybe rather than going for more of a high-end wide receiver like Jerry Jeudy, they go for somebody like that. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what they go after. But Con, I'm going to let you go. I got a bunch of people waiting.
Yeah, no problem. I'll see you on Adam 3-4 tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys drop in this week. All right, be good, man.
See you around, you too.
Bill Brightly, what's up, man? He says, pay Dan Man his money, Rounders. I love that movie. One of my favorite movies of all time. I can't even do the accent, but I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about Teddy KGB. Talking about Daniel Jones. We'll see. We'll see if he gets paid his money. I'm not going to be against it if he does because he's earning it this year. Harry says, how do we have enough cap room for more? What are you talking about? The Giants right now? We don't have a lot, but right now you're bringing in a wide receiver for the last 10 games, and it's prorated. They're not going to eat up much for the cap. A lot of that money, I don't have all the salaries in front of me, but these guys don't make a whole lot of money, especially the younger guys like Jerry Jeudy and a lot of these guys on their rookie salaries. So, yeah, that's how we'd have it for this year. Next year, we have some cap space. What's going on, NY Giants 26, man? Good to talk to you, buddy.
What's going on, Chris? Can you hear me?
Hear you loud and clear, man.
All right. So, what were your thoughts on the Brandon Cooks rumors?
It depends on how much he's going to cost, but I think there's a circumstance where I would like it.
I mean, for me, from like a GM perspective, I feel like since he's 29 years old, I feel like he's not a piece that we could build around.
And he's not. He's not.
For me, like I'd like to go after a Jerry Jeudy type receiver with Brian Dable. I feel like he could get the most out of him. He was his OC in 2019, his freshman year. So I feel like Brian Dable could get the most out of his players, and I'd love to see what he could do with Jerry Jeudy.
Listen, Judy's the guy I'd want again, and I know half the chat hates that idea because of his drop problems, but just based off upside and the ability to build with him for the future, his connection to Dable, like you said, If I could pick out one wide receiver, if the price was reasonable, that would be the guy that I would want. Because at that point, if I had trust in him and thought he could grow into a really good wide receiver, it gives me all the freedom in the world in next year's draft. I still probably try to draft a wide receiver at some point in next year's draft, but I don't feel forced to draft one in the first round. And he gets to build some chemistry with Daniel Jones before next year. So I would love to add Judy if they felt like he fit the offense. I would love to add a player like that.
Yeah, and then draft a receiver next year. Then we have Wandale, Judy, and insert drafted player. I feel that's a pretty good starting three.
Yeah, and then at that point, who else would we have right now? Nobody really, because we're probably going to lose Slate next year.
Right.
You are going to lose Galladay next year. You're going to lose Shepard next year. So even if we traded for a guy like Judy, you're still drafting a wide receiver relatively early next year if you're not signing one, for sure.
Yeah, I'd like to keep Richie James' depth. I think he's contributed for what he's had to work with, pretty much.
Yeah, I would love to keep Richie James. I don't know what his market's going to be next year, but I would love to keep Richie James. I think that's been one of Joe Shane's free agent signings have been a little bit underrated based off the amount of money he's had to spend. And I made a tweet about it today on Twitter. He had no money. And you look at some of the players he's brought in, and they've made pretty valuable contributions. Moreau has been one of the best cornerbacks, right? The way that he's played, he's been incredible. We brought him in for next to nothing. Jalen Smith's made some contributions. Richie James has made contributions. So the Giants, for the amount of money that he had, Joe Shane made some pretty cost-efficient moves.
Yeah, and I agree. I can't wait to see what he does next offseason. I think he's going to play it smart. I think he's not going to spend a ton in free agency other than our own players, because good teams retain their players and build upon that and go through the draft to acquire long-term players that you plan to play at their position.
Yeah, I agree with you. Give me your prediction on the game tomorrow.
I think, let's see, is Lockett's playing and DK's out, right?
I mean, nothing's official yet.
Nothing's official, okay. I think our O-line might struggle, the new guys, just because, the 12th man, the crowd, is a huge factor. It was a factor for us. It's going to be a factor in Seattle.
Yes.
But I think Dable will have them prepared for that. So I'm hoping there's not too many false starts. But generally, I feel pretty good going into this game. I think this is definitely a game that we could win. I'm going to predict 24-20. New York Giants win.
I like it. That's around where I have it. Pedro, I saw you ask how can you talk to me. I just typed your name Pedro in the chat, and then I put the link. So if you want to try to call in, you can. That's about where I got. I got a 24-17, 24-20 in that area. Right. So hopefully we're right. Hopefully the Giants get out with a win, and then at that point, I think you're looking at a very likely 9-1 start with the two teams we got up after that coming off the bye. But 1 week at a time,
right?
And we'll see if we get the win tomorrow, man. But thank you so much for being such a great supporter, and thank you for calling in, man.
Thanks for having me. See you, Chris.
You got it, buddy. Thanks for calling in. All right. We're going to get Matt C in here. What's going on, Matt C?
What's up?
What's going on, man?
How are you?
Good, man. Good to talk to you, man.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to see kind of who you're looking at going to Giants free agents. I actually like Chase Claypool a lot more than others, though.
Well, you mean in terms of trades, you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not in love with Claypool. Personally, I'm not in love with Claypool.
I think people kind of overlook his rookie season.
To me, Claypool is very similar to, and again, I don't get to watch him every week. I'm just telling you based off of what he looked like coming out of college. He's kind of like he reminds me a lot. I know he doesn't play tight end, but he reminded me a lot of Evan Ingram in terms of his skill set. Very athletic for a man of his size. He's tall. He kind of, I don't know. I feel like he'd fill like that Kenny Golladay type role with this offense, but he has more athleticism. I don't know. I don't know how well he would fit this type of scheme that they're looking to run. I don't know if I'm in love with Claypool for this Giants offense.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's actually a tight end or something coming out of college. Like
he was a projected tight end. A lot of people thought he'd be drafted to be a tight end.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's faster than people expect. He can get open. I believe he has sure hands out of Cooks, Judy, and him. I know Cooks is probably pretty sure hands too. But I don't know. I think that's somewhat underrated. But I also saw the Broncos looking for a lot for Judy. Like, they're not actively looking to sell, and someone will have to make like a real convincing.
Yeah, then I'm not trading for him.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
I'm not moving the moon and the stars for him. I have to be able to get him at a fair value.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know how realistic Judy is, but I don't know. Maybe you could steal Claypool. They might start to blow things up, or Kendrick Bourne. But I see him get like another body in here because I think the key is bringing someone in so Jones still has a fair shot. But I just don't think we need to do anything that affects the future whatsoever.
I could see Shane standing completely pat.
Yeah,
I could see Shane convincing himself, listen, I'm not willing to give up. I'm for what people are asking for. I think he's going to at least inquire. He's going to see what these teams are asking for these players. For, he's going to identify a few players, whatever players they may be that he's interested in, that he thinks are available. But if they don't meet what he feels is a fair value, he'll stand pat. He's not going to force a trade. He realizes this isn't just about this year. So I think he's going to be smart. I don't think he's going to force a trade that's not there. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Which is a smart approach.
Do you see anything with Elijah Moore? Or you think the Jets won't move him?
I know that there's been some bad blood there. Did he play? Did he play much last week? I know he hasn't been getting a ton of catches there. Let me take a quick look at his stats. He only had one catch last week for 11 yards. I know there's been bad blood there with Moore, and there's been rumors that he's been like requesting a trade or I don't know, rumblings, whatever. I doubt it. And I know the Giants and Jets have had trade history before, but Moore's still really young. He's still a talented receiver, and he's probably still a guy they feel like they could build with. I don't think they're going to trade him. I'd be pretty surprised if they trade Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I mean,
I like him if they could, but I don't think they're going to trade him.
I don't really see much either. I think you're either giving away a good pick for Judy or you're just kind of staying still.
Yeah, or you get a really cheap guy, but Denzel Mims or something like that. But we'll see. I'd like Judy, but it's got to be the right price. I'm not giving up a ridiculous price to get him.
Yeah, same.
Same thing with Claypool, who you mentioned. If you get him for a fair price, I'd be okay with it. But again, I'm not giving up a ridiculous price tag for the guy.
Yeah, same here.
So we'll see. I think they're going to monitor the market though, and hopefully they. But what about tomorrow's game? What do you think?
I'm thinking 27-24 Giants.
So you think it'll be a pretty high scoring game?
Yeah, I think people kind of look over Geno Smith. Personally, I think he's had a better season than Jones. I know he has a lot more to work with, but the throws he's made, some of the highlights, I know highlights are highlights, but he's made some crazy throws to Tyler Lockett. I don't know. I've seen him throw the ball real far. So I think he can win the Seahawks the game or at least score a touchdown.
Geno Smith's playing really well this year.
Yeah.
Can't knock the guy. He's been the story of the year in the NFL. I mean, you're talking about a guy that hasn't been a starter since 2014. When he was coming out of West Virginia, most people had him going early first round, fell to the second round with the Jets. Didn't work out there. He's been a backup ever since. Got to play a little bit last year with the Seahawks. Had good statistics, and they gave him an opportunity to start. He's been great. So I'm definitely not going to go into the game downplaying Geno Smith. He's playing well. You have to give him his respect, but we'll see. I think the Giants still have to try to force him to pass, though. We can't let Kenneth Walker run all over us.
Yeah. All right.
But I think it's going to be a little lower scoring than you, just because I think the Giants will be able to dictate the tempo of the game. I think we're going to be able to run on them, and I don't think we're going to be looking to get into a shootout. So I'm not saying that Geno Smith can't move the ball on us, but I think the Giants will dictate the tempo of the game. I think we'll have long drives. We'll be able to run the ball well. And I see it more in like the low 20s, like a 23-20, 24-20, something like that. But listen, I don't care how we win. We can win 31-30. If we, however we win, we win. But I don't think we're going to be looking to get into a shootout. So if the Giants are going to win, I think their game plan is going to be to hold, run the clock and try to keep that game in the low 20s.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, buddy, man. Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate all the support, man.
Thank you for having me on.
You got it, Matt. All right. Katrik says, of course, with the Kadarius Toney reference. And I'm sure if you guys are subscribers of my channel, you saw that video. I was never going to release that. You know how tempted I was to show some of you guys after he sent that to me? I'm like, I couldn't believe it when Kadarius Toney messaged me that. I think my message back to him was, wow, you actually messaged me. That's exactly what I said to him. And then he never responded. But that's what he's referencing. He says, go find something safe to do. That was the funniest thing ever when he told me to go find something safe to do. I'm not going to get into it. He's off the team. Wilson, man, thank you very much, man. Hey, Dana, just tuned in, and you may have already answered this, but what linebacker would make sense to you for our G-men if they were to make a move? I haven't even thought about linebackers in terms of trades. I haven't even thought about linebackers because I don't think we're trading for one. Haven't even thought about it. I wish I could give you a name. I mean, Roquan Smith would be the name that most people would say because there were rumors that he wanted out of Chicago earlier in the year, right? And there were rumors that they may be looking to trade him. I don't even know what his contract is in terms of the details and everything else. So I guess that would be a name that most people would say, but I don't think we're trading for a linebacker. We may sign one in the offseason. If we were going to get one, I would prefer it to be a guy that's really good in coverage because that's what we need. Our linebackers can't cover to save their lives. So that's something we could certainly use on this defense if the Giants elect to go that type of route. But I don't see us trading for one at the deadline. I could see us drafting one, or I could see us signing one in free agency. But I don't think we're going to give up draft capital for a linebacker. I'd be surprised if we do. But I mean, Roquan Smith was the first name that popped in my head when you asked me, just because there was rumors that he had trade demands. JB12 says, how do you feel about free agent wide receivers Will Fuller and D.D. Westbrook? There's a reason they're free agents. There's a reason they're free agents. I mean, Will Fuller's always hurt. Let me take a look at Will Fuller, but he's always hurt, man. The guy always misses time. Let me see. I don't think we're going to I doubt it. They could have signed him whenever, and they haven't done it yet. So I doubt it. Both those guys, I doubt it. I don't even know how old Will Fuller is now. Let me see. Will Fuller is only 28, but he hasn't played this year. He's always hurt, man. I know he's a name, and I know he has talent when he's on the field, but I don't know, man. I doubt it. I don't think we're going to be signing a high profile free agent wide receiver. I really don't. Maybe we trade for one, but I doubt it. They would have signed those guys already if they were interested in them. They've had all year to do it. Let's bring in Chris, man. What's up, Chris?
Oh, caught me lacking. What's up?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Pretty good, man. You excited for tomorrow?
I am pretty excited for tomorrow. Also, you were going over the list of the quarterbacks that you thought were better than Daniel Jones, right?
Yeah.
Were you able to come up with 10?
Let's go over it again real quick.
I don't know if you were able to come up with 10.
I'm going to let you make the decision. I'm going to let you rank Daniel Jones.
All right, I'll make that. I think he's like around it, not 8 or 9.
Now, let's do a projection. So let's not do where you think Jones is now. Let's do where you think Jones is going to be at week 17. Okay?
That's harder than now, honestly.
Okay, then let's do now.
But yeah, if it goes at the current rate, I think he'd definitely be top 10.
Josh Allen.
No.
All right, so that's one. Zach Wilson.
Yes, he's better.
Tua Tagovailoa.
Close, but I think he's better.
I think Jones is better as well. Mac Jones.
Better.
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson's better, but Lamar Jackson likes to choke too.
He does. Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow's better.
Are we going to count Deshaun Watson or are we not? He hasn't played in over a year.
That's true.
And he's not the starting quarterback right now.
He's not in the league right now. He's not in the league, so.
All right, so we're going to say he's better than Jacoby Brissett.
Yes.
Kenny Pickett.
He's better than Kenny Pickett. I went to middle school with Kenny Pickett, by the way.
Did you? That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill.
He's better than Tannehill.
Okay. Colts we're skipping. Obviously, he's better than I don't even know. Ellinger is starting, I think.
I think he might be a little bit better than Sam Ellinger.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence.
I think he's better. I know there's a lot of hype around him. We'll see how he does in the future.
Davis Mills.
Better.
Mahomes.
No, yeah, you put the finger up.
Herbert. Probably.
I don't know if that's so easy to just say that he's not better than Justin Herbert. I'll say that.
To put the 5. You brought it back.
I think that you can put it up if you'd like.
No,
For me, I think I would take Jones over Herbert. Might be. Yeah. Right now.
What does the chat think? Bricks Nation says Herbert's better. Isaiah says
I'm sure everyone thinks Herbert's better.
I think you can say he's better than Tua, by the way. I do think you could say he's better than Tua. I see Bricks Nation saying you can't say. I'm gonna agree with you on the Tua one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You're making the pick. I would take Herbert, but you're
I think Herbert has better receivers, but that's
just fair. No, listen. Carr.
I also think he's better than Carr.
I think that's I could at least see that.
There's a bunch of toss-ups here. That's the thing.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson is not cooking anything.
Okay. Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts, they're like the same pretty much at this point. If you look at the stats, I mean, it's
Do you
just.
want me to go 5 or you want me to go 4?
I don't want to put an Eagle over DJ.
All right. Dak Prescott.
that you might want to give to Dak.
Okay. Carson Wentz.
No.
Kirk Cousins.
I'll give it to Kirk.
Aaron Rodgers.
So we're at 6 right now. 7. Aaron Rodgers is better.
Fields.
Definitely better.
Goff.
No.
Mariota.
No.
Brady.
Nah. Right now, Brady, there's something.
No,
in his
I
mental.
don't necessarily think you're wrong. Brady doesn't look like Brady.
Yeah, if Brady looked like Brady, he'd be on the list.
Who the hell is Carolina starting right now?
Doesn't matter. PJ Walker.
Yeah, okay. Better than the Saints quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Geno Smith.
I'll still give it to Jones.
I think that's fair. Stafford, the way he's played.
I don't like the way he's played, so we're sticking pat. Jones is better.
Garoppolo.
Jones is better. I saw, was it Nick? What's his last name? I don't really want to know his last name. That one sports analyst was saying that the Giants were going to move on from Daniel Jones and pick up Jimmy G, and that we were going to win 13 games, and that we would still be bad.
Wait, what happened?
He said that the Giants could win 13 games, go to the play. Is it Nick Wright, I think?
Yeah, Nick Wright. Yeah.
Yeah. He said we were going to win 13 games and that we were fraud, we're fool's gold, and that he was immediately going to put money on the first playoff game, and that we would lose for sure, and that we were just bad. We could win 13 games and be a bad team.
He's hated the Giants all along, though.
It's kind of insane, but it is what it is. So where were we? We were at 7.
The last quarterback is Kyler Murray.
Jones is better. That's 7 quarterbacks better.
You
That
have
puts
me.
Jones at 8.
I think I'd have Jones. I'd have Jones
Maybe
a little
9
lower
or 10, maybe 11 or 12 if you
I'd
really
have
want to
Jones
go that
lower
much
than
further
you.
down.
I'd have Jones lower than you, but I'd have him a lot closer to the top 10 than I think a lot of other people would.
I think that's fair.
I think I'd have Jones at like 12 or 13 with the ability to jump into the top 10 by the end of the year.
Do you remember what his deep passer rating was in the past couple of years in 2020 and 2021?
The thing
it was high, wasn't it?
Yeah, the thing with Jones though, with Jones and the deep pass rating, why I always thought it was a little bit skewed, and I do think he's very accurate when it comes to the
He didn't take
deep
many
ball.
shots.
He didn't take a lot of shots because, if you looked at that list, Drew Brees was near the top of that list too, and we all know he doesn't have the best of arm strength when he was 43 years old or however old he was, because he didn't take a lot of deep shots. Yeah. So when you don't take a lot of shots, you're going to be more efficient.
I feel like when he does throw the deep ball, he has really good ball placement, and that he doesn't have the ability to do that right now. When you see the Shepard and the Slayton pass, that's nice, but
listen, I think DJ has all the tools you could want. I don't think he has Superman tools. Superman tools to me is Mahomes and Josh Allen, but I just think a lot of fans think Superman tools grow on trees. No, they don't grow on trees. There's 2-3 quarterbacks that have Superman tools.
Yeah.
But I think he has the tools. I think he's got the mobility. I think he does have necessary arm strength. I think he's got very good accuracy. All right, let me rank his tools. Let's rank his tools 1 to 10.
Okay.
Accuracy. I'll go 9.
Sounds about right. 8 or 9, yeah.
Arm strength. I'll go 6.5, 7.
I'd say 7, maybe even 7.5.
Okay.
I think his arm strength is underrated considering just how far
I think he has above average. When I say 6.5, 7, that's above average.
Over average. You're being really normal with the 1 to 10. Yeah.
Mobility.
9.
Yeah, his running ability is pretty damn good.
I mean, he's fast. His elusiveness is probably
not
more like a 4 or a 5.
Yeah, but straight line speed but what makes his speed so tell me a quarterback outside of Lamar Jackson that has a better ball fake than Daniel Jones. He's really good with that fake.
Ben Roethlisberger when he was on the pumps.
Daniel Jones is really good selling the RPO with the bootleg rollouts.
Yeah, he also makes the right read every time. You see that same stuff in college football, and you'll see those college football quarterbacks getting lit up and their running backs getting lit up because they're not making the right read. But he's really good in the read. He's making the right reads.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually tweeted out. I don't know if you even have Twitter. I tweeted out Josh McCown did an I recommend everybody.
I saw that a little. I saw the first 5 minutes of that breakdown, I think.
I might even show it during the stream. It's long. But maybe I'll go over
24-minute video. Yeah, the inside zone read portion of it was really impressive.
The read portion of it was awesome. For anybody that has not watched it yet, I highly suggest checking it out. Josh McCown did a film breakdown. I don't remember the name of the YouTube channel, but I tweeted out on Twitter where he broke down the Giants offense, and he did a really good job on it. But Daniel Jones is doing great in terms of the read concept this year. He's been really good at reading the defense. So
I think he's like top 5 in rushing first downs, like full
yeah,
10
no,
yard
he's
first
third.
downs.
I tweeted
Third.
that out. He's third. He's tied with Lamar
That's-
Jackson. He actually has more rushing first downs than Saquon Barkley.
That's not surprising because
Daniel Jones
that
has
means
29, Barkley has 28.
it's because the defense, every defense we face is just staring at 26.
Yeah.
So and then they keep on sleeping on them. But even if you do drop the spy, then that's another defender that isn't in coverage. And although our receivers aren't the best at catching the football, they catch it enough to where that's going to burn you if you consistently put a spy on Jones.
Yeah. And
But
I think if we had a number one wide receiver, that running game's only going to get better, man.
it'd be ridiculous. Yeah. And as far as like the acquiring by the deadline, I trust in the coaching staff.
Yeah, let me ask you, what do you? I'm of the mindset of, I'm going to be very excited if we had a wide receiver, if it makes sense.
Yes,
right? I don't want
agreed.
them to do a stupid trade, and
Mhm.
they're not going to. Joe Shane's not going to make a stupid trade. He's clearly shown he's going to be smart, but I'm of the mindset that I'd be very excited if they make a trade. But if they don't, I'm completely fine. Like, what do you want right now at the trade deadline?
I think I'm in the same boat. I don't think they're going to, but if they do, I think it'll wind up being a decision that they are very confident about. I also think they might be feeling out the market right now. Like, obviously, they're not pulling the trigger immediately because the deadline's Tuesday, so they're just keeping all of their cards close to their chest. So they're not gonna.
I think they're looking. I think they're looking, but they're only gonna snap if the right deal's there. And a lot of this is gonna come down to what happens this Sunday, not just with the Giants, but the other teams that are potential sellers or buyers. Like you saw that the Rams were a team that may be interested in Cooks. If the Rams lose, they may not want to be buyers because they'd be 3-4. They would have lost to the 49ers. So a lot of it's going to come down to stuff like that.
I wouldn't give up a second and a third for Cooks, though. No shot.
No,
That was what, like, the rumor was that they wanted for him.
Keep him then.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'd take him for, like, as you said, a fifth. Yeah, sure, I'll take Cooks.
Maybe a fourth. If you're eating a lot of his salary, maybe a fourth. But I'm not going more than that.
But I'm in the Tony trade. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. What was your opinion on the Tony trade?
I saw it coming from a little distance away.
I'm going to tell you right now. I knew they were trading Tony. I didn't know it. I shouldn't say the word no, but I was like 85% sure that Tony was going to be traded. I didn't know it was going to happen in season this year, but I knew before the start of next season there was like an 85 to 90% chance they were going to trade Tony because Bobby Skinner, who has a lot of ties with the people in the New York media, he constantly has them all on his channel. He didn't tell me who told him, but he told me while we were at training camp before the year started, he's like, Tony ain't going to be here much longer. So from what he was hearing, so I knew there was a good chance they were going to be trading Tony.
Yeah, your instance of how he responded to you is not a deviation from how he typically acts with people on social media.
Yeah.
You catch, like, I've seen multiple other instances where he's been very rude to fans.
Well, the reason I felt like I guess, some people like Chris shouldn't have done that. Listen, one, he's not a Giant anymore. But two, I never released it. I think let's be honest with ourselves. If somebody was like, had my platform or had a media platform, if they had that, they probably would have released it instantly. I was like, I'm not doing that because I don't want, he's a Giant. I don't want to screw.
I think more came out after the trade.
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to do that. But once they traded him, with the way, like you just said, that I saw him treat other fans, I mean, he publicly went after Alex Wilson. I don't even think Alex Wilson did anything wrong personally.
No.
And Alex Wilson, to me, and I understand people that have their opinions of me or Alex Wilson or anybody else, and there's definitely times where I could see people being like, come on, Alex, what are you talking about? To me, he was always well above and beyond pro Kadarius Toney. I thought too pro Kadarius Toney. So the second that he said anything about an injury, he went public and started bashing him. That's not, what are you doing attacking the fans like that? So I felt no remorse doing that with the Kadarius Toney once we traded him. He's not a Giant. I don't care anymore.
Want $1?
Yeah, $1.
It's all about the money, man.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
But let me get your prediction on the game tomorrow.
My heart says something different than my head. My heart says 32-24 Giants.
So you think it's gonna be really high scoring tomorrow too?
I'm thinking that their run defense is so bad that
Yeah.
we won't even need to have Daniel Jones throw the football that much. I think we'd wind up having like well over 200 running yards, maybe like 150 throwing, and be
Okay.
able to get that kind of production.
Okay.
Because the run defense just hasn't been that good. I've heard like, oh, the last couple of weeks has been better. It's like, have they really been? Have they seen Saquon Barkley? I don't think they have. So
No, listen, last week we ran for 230 yards against one of the best run defenses. And I'm not saying we're definitely going to run for 230 yards this week, but I'd be damned if I think we're going to struggle running the ball.
And that game should have been a 2-possession win game. That was stupid.
Yeah, can't go out of bounds like that.
No.
Yeah. But so you see it. So all right. So you said your heart says 32-24.
My head has like a lower value, probably more like a 24-20 or a 27-24. Those score lines just keep on popping up for the Giants. Those kind of like low.
But you like the Giants
20s.
either way. You like the Giants either way.
I want it. I want it so bad. It has been. I've been a Giants fan since 2008, but I haven't been watching them that much since I started watching them more again once we drafted Daniel Jones in 2019. So I've been watching them a lot since 2019. And between now and then, it has not been fun until now.
I'm with you. I like the Giants. I like the Giants right around the score you said. I think I said 24-20 or 24-17. That's where I'm at, right around there. So we'll see.
I just think it's going to be potentially be a little bit more high scoring because neither of us can stop the run. So I think even though that usually burns clock, if it's Kenneth Walker with the football, that's 6.
You're
that's
right.
Not much time off the clock.
You're right. It's very hard to predict because, like you said, I think it's going to be hard for either defense to get off the field. And if there's a couple of really big runs broken, the game may be higher scoring than I think going in. So you're right. I could definitely see we have to do a much better job in terms of containing the edge.
Yeah, I think Breida might be able to actually break one in this game.
I hope so. Hopefully, use him a bit more. He looked good. He's looked good in the limited times that we've given him. Give him some. He had a couple of big catches this past week.
Was it? Did he get like lit up on one of them? Was that this week or was it the Ravens?
I think that was the Ravens game. But then I was watching back the highlights today. He had a big catch. I think it was on the left side on a third down on a similar route. Not when they had 3 running backs in like the play you're talking about, but he's had a couple of big catches for the Giants this year. I'd like to see them use him a bit more in the run game, especially with Barkley's shoulder.
Yeah, I'm last thing. I know you have
go ahead, man.
Too. Thanksgiving game. I think we're gonna wind up having a good number of players that we really want to see back. I think we're gonna see Evan Neal back. I think we might be able to see even Daniel Bellinger back at that point. It's within the timetable.
I think that's right around where we're probably, if we're going to see Bellinger, I think it's right around then when we're going to see him.
And I really hope he has a visor on.
He better have a visor on.
Because, dude, like that, no flag, that rubbed me the wrong way.
Listen, man, I never complain about the officiating, like ever. Like I never even pointed out in my post-game videos. I will scream about it in an individual play when I'm calling a game, of course, like any fan would while you're watching the game. But after the game, when I recap the game, I will never mention the officials. Last week, you had the Daniel Bellinger play. You had Daniel Jones when he went to slide. He got hit. It was a clear flag. They didn't call it. There was like 6 holding penalties against Kayvon Thibodeau. They didn't call a single one. There was a penalty on the last drive, I think, that they called on Dane Belton that was a ridiculous call that gave them a first down. There was another play where there was a clear pass interference where I forgot what receiver he threw it to, but he got hit in the face with hand. Like the referees last week.
It was Darius Slayton. He got hit in the face while he tried to catch the football.
The referees last week were, I think that's the worst officiated game.
I think that the refs just lost a lot of money. They were supposed to win the Jags the game, and then the Giants won, and that their incentive was to make the Jags win the game, and they didn't. The Jags couldn't even do it when the refs handed to them on a silver platter, so all the refs went home with a few grand less.
That's what it seemed like, man, because the officiating was hard. I've never seen officiating that bad.
I can't remember the last time I saw something that bad. Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you go, man. Thank you so much for calling in. I've gotten a chance to talk to you on, I think, the Hubs channel before, and
yeah,
I appreciate you popping on, man.
All right, have a good night. Have a good time watching the game tomorrow.
You too, Chris.
Looking forward to it.
Enjoy the game, buddy. All right, we're gonna get to the next guy. I just want to talk to pick up a couple of these. Jason If we win tomorrow, I think that Shane should try within reason to get a receiver. NFL is year to year, and we could be 7-1 after tomorrow. If we have a chance to make a playoff run, we must try at least. Again, it's got to be the right deal. It's got to be like you said, within reason. It's got to be the right deal. But yes, if there is a fair offer, a fair market value, I agree. You can't take 7-1 for granted. If you have an opportunity to improve the team for a fair market deal, I think you do it. But it's got to be the right deal. You don't go crazy at the trade deadline, and he won't. He'll be smart. He's not a stupid GM. But I agree. I think we need to be buyers if the market fits what we're looking to do. I agree with you on that. JB12. Do you think Saquon should be a top 5 MVP candidate? I'm going to bring in Brandon while I'm reading this. Do I think that Saquon should be a top 5 MVP candidate? And do you think it could flip over to Jones if he continues to win? Brandon, let me ask you that question, and then we'll get into what you wanted to talk about. Do you think right now, if the season were to end, that Saquon Barkley right now, I'm not talking about week 17, through 7 weeks, is top 5 in the MVP?
Oh, can you hear me, Chris?
I hear you, man.
I don't know. I maybe I'm in the minority here, but I think quarterbacks are very important. I don't know. I think it's tough to give an MVP to a running back. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, it is. I mean, the last running back that won it was Adrian Peterson, which was 2011 or 12 when he came back from the ACL tear. So it's, outside of that, it's almost always a quarterback.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Well, let me rephrase the question then. Taking quarterbacks out of the equation, is Saquon Barkley the MVP in the National Football League through 7 weeks?
Well, I'll take a step back with that because, we can get into this a little bit more, but I might be in the minority in thinking that the quarterback's a little more overrated in the NFL. But also, what I mean overrated, sometimes they're overblown. People don't realize they need a lot of help, yada, yada, yada. But, yeah, taking out a quarterback, I think so because I think they get a little too much love. Just like college football, how no defensive players. I'm a big defensive player fan. You notice in college football, I think it was Aiden Hutchinson, maybe Manti Te'o years ago. Nobody gives any credit to defense or other players aside from quarterbacks. So taking it out of it, I think, yeah, absolutely. I think he's right there. Number one, number two.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Quarterback's going to win it because they always do because they put up ridiculous stats. But I completely agree with you in the sense that I do think quarterback. I mean, it's just the facts. Quarterbacks get way too much credit and they get way too much blame. When the team's bad, everybody rags on the quarterback when it's not necessarily the quarterback's fault. And when the team's great, obviously the quarterback has something to do with it, but they probably get more credit than they deserve. So I agree with that stance. I do think Barkley today is actually, including quarterbacks, is top 5 in the MVP because I look around the league right now. Obviously, Josh Allen's ahead of him. Obviously, Pat Mahomes is ahead of him. And then, I mean, he's in the discussion after that for me. I'm not, obviously a lot of people would say Jalen Hurts, but I look at Jalen Hurts and I say to myself, I could put a lot of quarterbacks in that spot and they're probably still 6-0. They got a great offensive line. They got great wide receivers. If Daniel Jones is an Eagle, I think the Eagles are 6-0. I mean, for God's sakes, the Giants are 6-1. So,
I have questions about Daniel Jones, but I mean, what I will say about Barkley, so I'm not a huge fan of him sometimes, even though he's a New Yorker and a big Giants fan because he has ridiculous takes. But what I will say is I was watching Jay, Will, Max, and Keyshawn on ESPN, and Jay Will made a good point to what you're saying about when you really think about what is the most valuable player. That's why sometimes it's overrated. The quarterback gets it because, I feel like we don't actually think about, well, who really was the most valuable player to their team? They said when you think of each team, when you say Kansas City, what do you say? Patrick Mahomes. When you say Buffalo, what do you say? You say Josh Allen. When you say New York Giants, the first thing you think of is not yet Daniel Jones, it's Saquon Barkley. And Jay Will was saying Saquon is the Giants. Obviously he meant that, figuratively, but he's he is the Giants. That is the Giants right there, the Saquon Barkley. So to your point, that's what I'm saying. That those accolades to me, I don't really pay attention to sometimes because just like college football, because I'm a huge college football fan. It's are those guys, I guess you could make an argument. Yeah, Bryce Young is probably the most valuable player to Alabama. Maybe that's a bad.
Yeah, but look at Alabama's line and look at their receivers, right?
Exactly. To your point, that's why, just like Bad Dog, I think I don't think we're gonna have to worry about this, but that's why Ohio State quarterbacks are terrible in the NFL. It's a sicko line and 3 first-round receivers. Well, I think if Daniel Jones had that at Duke, we'd be talking about a totally different quarterback coming into the NFL. So it's You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, to what Jay Well said, like that kind of resonated. Like, oh, he is the Giants. Like, yeah, he is the Giants. Exactly. Like, I think he's the most valuable player to his football team above some other guys, if you want to think of it that way.
I think Barkley right now is top 5 in the MVP, personally. Now, to what JB said about the second part of the question, I see King's in here. He loves Daniel Jones, so he's the biggest Daniel Jones fan I know. So he goes, what the hell is this guy talking about? Remove Barkley from the Giants. They are not winless. Remove DJ from the Giants. They are 0-7. I mean, that might be true because our backup quarterback is such a big drop-off. And that's just the way it works in the NFL. So I don't know if we're 0-7, but we probably have a worse record. But it's just because of how big of a drop-off the backup quarterback is. Even though Tyrod Taylor, we might have 3 or 4 wins, but we wouldn't be 6-1. I still think Barkley's incredibly valuable. Now, to the second part of his question, do you think it could flip over to Jones if we continue to win? Yes. What do you mean in terms of Jones being viewed as the more valuable player than Barkley? Yes, I think it can. Yes. I don't know if it will, but yes, I think it could be viewed that way by year's end, especially if we get him another weapon and if we open up this offense. To me, it doesn't really matter, though, in terms of who's more valuable. I think both of them are so important to one another. Like, I think Barkley, having a healthy Saquon Barkley helps Daniel Jones tremendously. I mean, the fact that Saquon Barkley is such a threat in the backfield has at least part of the reason why Daniel Jones has been able to run as effectively as he has. Because that takes a lot of the attention towards Barkley, and that opens up big running lanes for Daniel Jones. So it's been very valuable for Daniel Jones, especially because he has nobody to throw to. But as Daniel Jones has improved, and he has week to week to week, in turn, that helps Saquon Barkley. I think this past week, they were, you go back 2 weeks ago, they were this past week, right? They were stuffing Barkley in the first half. But Daniel Jones, because they stacked the box, was able to loosen up the defense in the first half when he threw for nearly 200 yards in the first half, and that opened it up for Barkley. So I think one player is helping the other. So I personally don't care about the semantics in terms of who's more valuable than the other. I think they're both valuable. I think they're both very important for one another to be successful.
Well, can I ask you? So I have a question about Daniel Jones, and I'm a big thought experiment kind of guy. I'm not trying to stir everyone up with hot takes, but kind of I want to get your thoughts on this. I'd say to everyone, think of it open-mindedly. There's been a lot of conversation about Daniel Jones in this chat, rightfully so, because it's, he's a quarterback of the New York Giants, figuring everything out, his history. Is it possible, and I know you can technically derail my take by saying, oh, well, they didn't pick up the fifth-year option, so no, regardless what you're going to say, no. But kind of hear me out. Is it possible? I'm not saying he's Josh Allen, but kind of similar to how when quarterbacks come in the NFL, like Jordan Love, they're like, oh, he's a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback. I think we should all remember, and this is only to give us optimism for the future, when Jones came in, he was a Josh Allen type quarterback. And before everyone freaks out, to kind of clarify what I mean, same kind of body, almost similar to Eli. Eli can't run, but same kind of body, same kind of length, same kind of arm. I would say maybe upstairs, you might have said he was a little more intelligent. But we have to remember, too, and this is what gets me really excited about the future, Josh Allen came in very raw, which I think people forget. I mean,
no, he did. He did.
He was very raw.
I'm going to tell you my differences with Josh Allen and Daniel Jones. And I do think Daniel Jones has a lot of very good tools. And I do think Daniel Jones is above average in terms of his tools. Pretty much every tool that he has. I think he's an above average in every aspect for a quarterback. Some more above average than others, depending on the tool you're talking about.
Right. I would agree.
But Josh Allen's arm is on another level.
I'm
talking about strength, by the way. I'm not talking about.
Yeah, he's got the best arm in the NFL. I mean,
that's not a knock on Daniel Jones. He has a better arm than any quarterback in the league outside of potentially Pat Mahomes in terms of just arm strength. So that's not a knock on Daniel Jones. He's got a much stronger arm than Joe Burrow. He's got a much stronger arm than every quarterback. I also think Josh Allen. They're different types of runners. Daniel Jones to me is obviously faster in terms of straight line speed, probably than Josh Allen. Josh Allen's pretty fast though, but he's probably faster in terms of straight line speed. But Josh Allen is like Cam Newton vibes in terms of his running.
He's got a little more twitch. I think
he just knocks people over. I just think they're different types of quarterbacks, but they're both good. I'm not knocking Daniel Jones. I don't think it's an insult to say that Daniel Jones' ceiling is not as high as Josh Allen's. I don't think that's an insult.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what's interesting, though, and I saw this take, too. I was watching Get Up, and if you guys, I'm sure everyone's heard of it, but it's on ESPN. Rex Ryan made a decent point, whether you like him or not. And some people might have mixed opinions because he was a Jet. He did make a point in saying that, if you think about it, the cool thing about Daniel Jones, and I know you only have so much time in the NFL, his kind of like time to judge his stealing now that he's finally got a coherent and competent management in front of him is kind of now. He kind of made a decent point in saying, yeah, it's kind of now if you think about it. So you don't even really know what he could be because now he's almost like, think of this as his rookie year. Now he's playing like what they said he might be when Gettleman drafted him. So I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. So, I mean, I don't want to
Listen, here's what I'm going to say about Daniel Jones. And King, you're absolutely right. He says you cannot say that, Chris. Josh Allen was not himself till he got Diggs. You're right. He doesn't have his Diggs yet. You're right. And maybe Daniel Jones does look like Josh Allen when he gets his Diggs, if he gets his Diggs. Hopefully he gets his Diggs. I'm praying he gets his Diggs. Here's what I'll say about Daniel Jones. And I am convinced now. Daniel Jones is confident. I did not feel that way with Daniel Jones really up until this year. Like, he is confident. He's confident at the line of scrimmage. He's confident in terms of his pocket awareness. He just looks like a different quarterback in terms of just the little things. He's a different quarterback. He looks so much more confident than he ever has.
And what's nuts is you'd think he'd be under the most pressure and feel the less confident this year, considering like this is pretty much his make or break year. But yeah, I think that kind of speaks to the coaching. I mean, no one's got anything to say about the coaching anymore. I think we've confirmed, this management structure, because I consider management, head coach, GM, these are the guys. So I mean that makes it easier. I had a question about the Jerry Jeudy thing, and kind of your thoughts. I don't really understand. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if someone else has brought this up.
Yeah.
If you think about what they gave up for Russell Wilson, and we all know how important his draft.
What was the exact package? I know it was like a lot.
So it was Noah Fant, a 3rd round pick, and 3 first-round picks.
Jesus.
Yeah. So the reason I'm bringing this up is it seems like the sweepstakes is legit. I mean, we don't know what goes on the inside, but
hold on. I'm just thinking about that trade as you're talking. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, yeah, I know. Isn't it ridiculous?
So they gave up. They gave up.
They
gave up Noah Fant, who's probably a top 10 to 12.
Seattle, by the way, is just, obviously no dirt, but yeah, to Seattle who we're playing. So yeah,
an above average tight end.
Oh yeah, I think so.
They gave up a 1st-round pick this year that's probably going to be a top 10 pick. Like, it's trending that way with Denver, right?
I didn't even think about that. They're really going to make out in that one, kind of like the Giants did with the Bears. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And if Denver continues to struggle, they're going to have more top 10 picks or top 50. Oh my God.
So the reason I'm getting to that is what gets me confused about this Jerry Jeudy sweepstakes, if you will, is if you look at their roster top to bottom, I don't even know why he'd be on the block, because if they get rid of him, I mean, let's even say, and I don't want to give up a 2nd-round pick either. Let's even say his value is a 2nd-round pick. Like, we're not giving it, but just pretend someone else gives it. Broncos, what do you even have to build around? So now you lost what your supposed number 1. You got KJ Hamler. He hasn't done much yet. You lost your tight end, decent O-line. Yeah, they got some guys on defense and a struggling Russell Wilson. Like, what does the future look like? I mean, it's not like you're getting, 2 first-rounders for Jerry Jeudy. So it's almost like in my head, I'm like, why are they shopping that guy if they are?
Yeah, there's been rumors, but yeah, you're right. I understand the thinking of the rumors don't make much sense. Why would they trade? Because they're a team that kind of went all in. And they're really not in a spot at this point because you're not getting 1st-round draft capital for anybody on that team. And you've already committed a lot of salary to Russell Wilson. They're not really in a spot at this point to be trying to do a rebuild. So
am I crazy? Because I've been thinking that the whole time. Like, I don't know if anyone's brought this up. Are the Broncos in a spot to shop Jerry Jeudy? Is it okay to call him a bust yet? What if he becomes a number 1 for a team like the Giants? They look absolutely terrible even then so. Because they got no capital and they traded.
No, I don't even know if it makes sense for Denver. I've just heard that there's rumors that they're looking to trade him. I don't know if I don't think it necessarily makes sense, but there's rumors that they're looking to trade him. I'd be interested for the right price, but it's got to be the right price. But yeah, it may not make the most sense.
And kind of going off of that, I would also ask, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but if the Giants win this game, it's safe to say they're probably going to be 9-1. I'm not trying to get too far ahead.
No. And again, anything could happen in the NFL. It's a week-to-week league. I think it's very fair to expect them to be 9-1 if they win tomorrow. And they're literally playing the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I'll be going to the Lions game. Actually, I'm really excited for that one. I'm going with a bunch of my friends.
I'm going to the Houston game, so we just missed
That's
each
the one
other.
we were going to get tickets for. We decided on the Lions game. That's funny. But no, I would say, you know, and I know this is going to make our price obviously have to go up, and obviously they're probably waiting until the last minute. If the Giants go 9-1, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, depending on how the games go with the Eagles and the Cowboys, it's possible they could be making a run for the 1 seed. I'm not trying to get too far ahead, but the reason I'm
No,
bringing,
you're not. You're not wrong, man.
yeah,
You're not wrong. And how could you say it's impossible? If we win tomorrow, we have a chance at the 1 seed in the NFC. I'm
and then
not
I
saying
would
it's.
add, I'm
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to
No,
add
no,
to
go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
Having said all that, would you say, I would say yes, but it's got to be for the right price. This is a pivotal game. If we beat Seattle, because it's going to be right around the trade deadline, and maybe these teams are kind of waiting till the last minute, take the best offer. We all know they do that. It's it's kind of like negotiating. Would you say if we go 7-1, it's almost inevitable the new GM has to say, yeah, I know the future, but we got to think win now. We're going to have to make some kind of move.
One-
At 7-1, you think it's probably, I'd say it's probably a 90+% chance it's going to happen at that point. He's going to be convinced we beat Green Bay, we beat the Ravens, we beat what is probably a top 10 team in Seattle. I think we got to go for it.
Here's what
Brian.
I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. And by the way, somebody asked for the link. I just put it. Thomas, you asked, how do you get on? I just put the link right there, right below where you asked. So if they get to 7-1, if you're Joe Shane, and I understand fans that say it's a rebuild season or that they want to go slow and steady and they don't want to force the issue, because I do want a long-term vision for this team.
100%.
But at the same time, you have to recognize 7-1 is 7-1.
And who you beat at that point? Then you got a lot of good wins. I mean,
you beat, like you said, you won in Seattle, you won in Jacksonville, you won in Tennessee, you beat the Packers, you beat the Ravens. Well, short rest, traveling back from London,
and you're not even healthy. I mean,
you're not even healthy. These guys have worked their ass off to get where they are. You're trying to instill a winning culture. At that point, you do what you got to do. Like, I'm not saying you force the issue, but you look for a trade that makes sense and you try to fill a hole in this roster. 7-1 is 7-1. I don't care how well equipped your team is in terms of if you feel like in 2 years we're going to be a better equipped team to win a Super Bowl than this year. You don't know. If you could ever get the number 1 seed and win the NFC East, which if we're 7-1, you're, like you said earlier, you're probably looking at 9-1 before you get to your divisional games. If you could ever get the number 1 seed, which is still not super likely, but it's possible at that point, you don't know what can happen. So, yeah, I think you have to explore the market and look to make a deal if there's a smart deal out there.
I would say, and I think we're in agreement here. I was thinking about this before you brought me in. I just in listening to everybody else. I would say if we get to 7-1, and again, we don't want him to, leverage the house. I'd say he's got to bring something in, even if it's a small price, even if it's Brandon Cooks to say, oh, we know he's not a long term, but like I think if we get to 7-1, Cooks makes a hell of a lot more sense and it looks a little more viable at that point to say, hey, listen, he's not the future, but this is a guy,
He can help us this year. He could help us this year, and he didn't cost a whole lot to bring him in.
And then I know you got some other guys. My last question. So I know a lot of was talk about Saquon Barkley. I mean, I know we're fans, so of course I want him back too. I mean, I'm kind of like you. He's my giant. I want to watch that dude. I think what a lot of people, I know everyone's worried about signing him, but with the cap space and everything, and like you said, you could always structure things. I think Saquon, though, for what his history has been, and this would be affordable, a lot of people in the media, I'm sure you've heard this, they brought up a Derrick Henry type scenario.
Yes.
I think that is kind of.
I know what the Henry deal was pretty reasonable. Wasn't it like $13 million a year or something like that?
Right. And I think it actually was 12 or 12.5. And let's even say we bump Saquon up to 13, 14. I think it'd be in his best interest to do like a 3-year 13, 14, because if I'm his age and I say, listen, you want to get the most you can. He does commercials in New York. The guy's definitely not hurting for cash, but I'm saying to him, with your history, no offense type thing, this is probably reasonable for you right now. I'd go ahead and take it if they're going to offer that. I think it's a win-win for both parties involved, honestly.
Plus you're in an offensive system that's only trending up with Dable as the play caller. Yeah, listen, if they get Saquon for $13 or $14 million a year for a 4-year deal with the ability to get out after 3, sign me up. Get it done. And hopefully, obviously provided he stays healthy this year, which looks like hopefully he does. So yeah, I would love to sign him to a deal like that at the end of the year.
I would also say too, I know a lot of your fans are a little ambitious here. I don't know where they're getting their scores. I'm thinking like 2017. I don't know where they're finding 30 points, no offense, but I'm like some of these scores,
Well,
If some-
I think they look at the scores from last week and they see Seattle put up a lot of points, and I think they think that we got to put up a lot of points, but it's the pace of play. And I think the Giants are going to dictate the pace of play because I don't think Seattle's going to stop us in terms of the ground attack. So I think the Giants keep this game in the low 20s. That's what I expect as well.
I think Wink's going to have to bring, as he's done, some strategic blitzes because, as I'm sure you've heard, and this is why drafting is so important, Seattle, with the capital they've gained, have already hit on draft picks. They've hit on Kenneth Walker. Charles Cross is a phenomenal tackle right now.
He's playing great.
Yeah, I don't know how much pressure we're getting off the edge, but we're going to have to – and then obviously we know Geno, so we're going to have to shake it up. Not saying Thibodeau isn't, he can't be a force, but we're definitely going to have to – there's going to have to be probably some coverage sacks, and we're going to have to bring the pressure because their tackles – I don't know who the other guy is, but I heard this on the news too. Their tackles have been playing out of their mind.
No, they have.
Yeah.
I read the same thing. Their offensive line's been playing really well. Charles Cross has been playing really well. So it'll be a challenge, but especially if their wide receivers are out, which I guess we'll know tomorrow because they're game time decisions. But if they're out, I think we stand a good chance in this football game.
Absolutely. I just want to add to we were talking about the refs. Yeah, that Dane Belton call, who I think he's played pretty well so far. That Dane Belton call was – they showed the replay. I mean, that might have been the worst call I've ever seen. I mean, that's like textbook coverage in the NFL. I think he laid a finger on him, and that threw the ref off. I don't know. It's like I was.
Even the Saquon Barkley overturn, which I guess technically he was out of bounds, but it was questionable. Like there were so many questionable calls from within that game. Like it was really bad, man. It was really bad.
Yeah, no, you get those one, and I try to be objective when I watch even the other team, but I rewatched the Dane Belton one. I'm like, what are they even like? I think they get flag happy sometimes. They're holding on to it. It's just like, you put a finger on him. It's like it was ridiculous to me. So, but yeah,
hopefully
man.
it's better this week. Hopefully it's better this week.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think going back to that, it's a pivotal game. I don't see, I don't want them to sacrifice the house, but I think even if it's something small, what I would say, and I think it's going to go right down to the wire with the deadline. If the Giants win this game, I think by Tuesday you see a move for Brandon Cooks is what I'm going to predict. That's what I'm going to say.
I like it.
Yeah.
I do. If I had to pick one way or the other, if they win this game, I think they make a move. Even if it's a small move, it shows even if it's a Denzel Mims, anything.
I think your fan said that. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it shows the guys in your locker room that you appreciate what they've done, and it shows the guys in your locker room that you believe in them. Because you're saying I'm willing to give up a little bit. A little draft capital next year to help you guys right now. I appreciate what you guys have done for this team this year. I believe in you guys. I think this team can defy the odds. I think they are better than what the doubters say. And even if he doesn't fully believe that, if he's willing to give up a 4th or 5th round pick to bring in somebody that could help them, it instills confidence in the football team. And I think confidence goes a long way, especially when you're trying to build something from the ground up in terms of winning football.
Oh, absolutely. I did real quick. I did forget one thing, and I completely agree. On the topic of that, I know I said the sorry everyone last thing, but do you think, and I know this is all, you could speculate, was the Kadarius Toney draft capital in thought of them, again, it's speculation, that they plan on making a move, you think? I mean, I know it's only speculation, but
I'm going to say no. Say no. I think they were trading Toney all along.
Okay. Just
I think they were trading Toney all along. I really believe that. And I think they were waiting it out until the end to try to get as much draft capital as they possibly could.
Okay. Cool.
But that's my guess. But Brandon, man, man, enjoy the game tomorrow. Thank you for calling in. Hopefully we get a W.
Yeah, sounds good. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Be good. Going to catch up with a couple of these, and we're going to bring on the next caller. Jason says, I hope people realize if Jones continues his solid play, he is not taking a hometown discount. Jones will get a multi-year extension. Great problem now. Yeah, he's not taking a discount, nor should he. It's going to come down to how well he plays and what his market is. But Giants, at worst case scenario, could tag him if they're not able to work out a deal before free agency starts. You don't let him hit the market. If you want to bring him back, you tag him, and then you try to work out a deal from there. If not, he plays on the tag for a year. Obviously, I wouldn't want that. I don't want to have to commit $32 million and not be able to maneuver the cap at all. But that's something that they at least have the option to do if they're not able to work out a deal before free agency hits. But if he plays well and they want to bring him back, the Giants are not. I don't even think they're going to even let him hit the open market in terms of free agency. Caesar, thank you very much, man. Julio Jones, $2 million this year, 3.5 next. Reliable hands, brings veteran leadership, fits, smart, tough, dependable. Only would cost around a 5th or later. I mean, Julio Jones, isn't he done? Like Julio Jones, like what? He's done. I mean, what? Let me look him. I haven't even heard his name. He's done. He's done. I mean, last year he had 31 catches, 434 yards. This year he's got 97 yards. He's just not the player he once was. Like, I mean, I know I get it. He's name recognition. He's been a great wide receiver before. He's done though. He's done. Julio Jones is not. No, I don't want to trade for him. I don't think he's going to make an impact. So if I'm going to give up any draft capital, I want to bring in a guy here that I think could actually really help this football team. And at this point in his career, I don't view him as that. Duran, man, thank you very much, man. Wouldn't you go for a second of Pitts? They don't use him a lot for a second round pick for Kyle Pitts with the Falcons. I don't think they would trade Kyle Pitts for a second. I mean, they drafted him, third overall just last year? And I know he's not being used a ton quite yet with the Falcons, but of course I would. I'd give up a second round pick for Kyle Pitts. The guy's incredibly talented. He's basically a wide receiver at the tight end position. He's still incredibly young, but I don't see the Falcons doing that. I know that, like you said, he hasn't been used a ton quite this year, but I don't think they're looking to trade Kyle Pitts. I mean, he's still only on his second year of his deal and was thought to be one of the most talented players in last year's draft. So I don't see that happening. Independent. This team is special in all of our players are our identity. Gritty, fighters, pass rush, second identity. Who goes next to open cap? Galladay and Leo. All right, let me read all of this. This team is special, and all of our players are identity, gritty fighter, pass rush. Who goes next to open cap? Galladay. Well, Galladay's going to be cut. Galladay's cut next year. That's a foregone conclusion. That's happening. We're not going to be able to trade him, but he'll be cut at the end of the year. Leo's not getting cut. As a matter of fact, they backloaded some of Leo's money, so they had to further commit to a dead cap to Leo next year. I'm going to go as far to predict that Leo's going to get extended, because if you look at Leonard Williams' contract next year, it's a $32 million hit because of all the backloading from the previous years, and they had to do it again this year. I think they're going to extend him to spread out the money. I think they're going to keep Leo, and I think they're going to sign him on a 2 or 3 year extension. I don't know what the contract would be, but I think he's staying, and not only is he staying, I think he's going to get an extension. That's my prediction with Leonard Williams at year's end. I'd be shocked if the Giants cut him. He's a very good player. I think a lot of Giants fans underappreciate him. Blue Collie says, you worried about our run D? Yeah, I'm definitely worried about our run D. I think our run D is by far our biggest weakness on this football team right now. I think it's our biggest weakness on this football team right now. And what's the reasoning for it? I think you could point to a lot of factors. Our linebackers aren't very good. We run a lot of packages where we have multiple DBs, so maybe that has something to do with it as well. But yeah, the run defense has to get a hell of a lot better because teams have been running all over us. Really since after Leonard Williams got hurt. So I thought that had a lot to do with it, because if you go back, we did a pretty good job against Derrick Henry. We did a pretty good job against Christian McCaffrey in the first half when Leo played, and then he went down, and then teams started running all over us. So I said, all right, maybe when Leo gets back, it'll get better. So far, it hasn't. Hopefully Leo, gets more and more healthy, and it gets better over the course of time this year. But the run defense needs to get a hell of a lot better. So yeah, I'm definitely worried about that tomorrow for sure. Giants have to put 8 in the box tomorrow. They got to do whatever they can not to get obliterated on the ground. But we're not really getting killed up the middle. It's more so off the edge, where teams are beating us with their runs. So the Giants have to do a better job in that area. But yeah, I'm definitely worried about that. I think that's the biggest weakness of this football team right now. Let's see what we got. Let's get the next caller on. I know Hive's been waiting. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's going on, Chris? What's good,
What's
baby?
going on, man? Good to talk to you, buddy.
Yo, first of all, bro, I just want to give you a shout out, bro. I've been watching your videos for about like 4 or 5 years now, bro. And I watch them like at least 50 times a week. I absolutely love your videos, bro. What's going on, my man? You ready for the game tomorrow?
Is the Pope Catholic? Of course I'm ready for the game tomorrow, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
what
yeah,
are you,
no doubt, bro.
you're not driving right now, are you?
No, I'm not driving. No, I'm actually parked right now in front of the house.
What's up, man? What kind of car you got? Oh,
I got a couple of cars, bro. I had a spoon engine Honda Accord, 2016 coupe. I got into an accident with that, so I bought an Evo 10, and I'm actually in my girl's car right now. So I have I'm just in a little Nissan Murano.
Okay, all right. Good to talk to you, man. But what do you want to talk about?
Yeah, you ready for the game tomorrow, bro? It's gonna be a big game, bro. I think tomorrow is gonna be the first time we might be able to go 7-1 since probably like 2008.
Yeah, well, right now we're 6-1 for the first time since.
By the way, I also want to give a shout out to my man Bad Dog, bro. Yo, shout out to you, Bad Dog.
Yeah, Bad Dog's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yo, that's the man. He's a funny guy, bro. He's an interesting character, bro. But yeah, I like him.
He's a lunatic. But this is the first time we've been 6-1 since 2008, and that year I think we actually started 11-1. So hopefully we can keep this up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. So, what do you think is the verdict for the game tomorrow, bro? How do you think it's gonna go down?
I think we're
Especially
gonna
in, like
win.
the fourth quarter.
I think we're gonna win. But what scares me this week is I feel like I'm more confident than the majority of the fan base. A lot of people on Twitter seem to think we're gonna lose, and I
Right.
understand it. We're going to a tough environment. It's
Mhm.
back-to-back road games. We haven't played back-to-back road games all year. We have
Right.
a lot of
Right.
injuries.
Right.
And Seattle's looked good. They looked good last week. So I'm
Who's
not.
on the injury reserve?
What did you say?
Who's on the list? Who's
Well,
not playing tomorrow?
Bellinger's
On
out.
both sides.
Bellinger's out.
Right.
Evan
The eye,
Neal's
yeah,
out.
with the eye socket.
Evan Neal's out.
Right.
Obviously Galladay's still out.
Mhm.
We got Bredesen's out. So two of our
We need
starting
to
offensive
get rid
line.
of Galladay, bro. Yo, we need to get rid of Galladay, bro. See, Galladay is a product of our old regime signing these players that they do, which are like the old regime since Joe Shane, has been here. They've been really conservative in their ideologies, so that's a product of Galladay, wanting to have like that one big play receiver on the squad or whatever, and he just never fit the system. So like all those mistakes are kind of like still, what's hurting us at this point. But I think we're gonna be good, man, and I think we're gonna win tomorrow for sure.
Give me a final score.
I think I said this in your chat, bro. I think I got 24-17 by a touchdown, New York Giants. Let's go, baby.
You got the same score as me. I hope you're right, man, because it make me look smart. But let's get the win
bro.
tomorrow, man. Zahaib, enjoy the game.
Got you, Einstein. Yep.
And stay off the roads.
Yeah, you too, bro. Have a good one, bro. Take care, brother.
Be good, Zahaib, man. Thanks for calling in. Zahaib, I think Zahaib, I saw a couple people in the chat. Zahaib might have been on the sticky icky there. What's up, Zahaib, man? Thanks so much for calling in. Let's get to Brandon Rogers. I got to get a Seahawks fan on the chat. Obviously, we're playing Seattle. Brandon's been with me forever.
Hey, sir. How are you?
What's up, Brandon?
Good to talk to you again. Here, if you want, I can prop my camera up.
You don't have to if you don't want to.
No, let's get real professional with it. I got you.
All right. What's going on, buddy?
I got four things for you. One, I heard you talking to the other Brandon about it. I think the NFC this year, it's going to get better down the stretch, and I think it's going to be harder for seeding as it gets going because I think a lot of these experienced teams will improve. So you're going to have to get the wins out of the way now, like the Rams. I think the Niners will kick it into gear. The Buccaneers and the Packers are going to keep.
Let me get your opinion, because I always like talking football with you. Let me get your opinion, Brandon, on who's your Super Bowl pick right now in the NFC. I don't care about the AFC. I'm going to tell you mine, and I picked them at the beginning of the year, and I'm sticking with them even with as bad of a record as they currently have. 49ers. That's my pick.
Okay. See, I said Rams again, but if you had to ask me to change it today, I would probably go with. I think if the Eagles. I think if the Eagles get home field.
Oh, you're killing me, bro.
I understand, but if it goes through Philly, that's going to be tough as hell. And listen, I wasn't a big Sirianni guy coming into the season. I thought Philly was going to be one of the lesser teams in the NFC, but I wouldn't really see anyone going into Philly and, probably winning in the playoffs as it stood right now. But I think the Vikings have a chance. I think the Vikings have a better chance.
You think Kirk Cousins, really?
Than a lot of these teams right now. But I would still go with the Rams. I think the Rams are going to kick it into gear. I trust McVay. I trust what they do. So, I
want to hear about your Seahawks.
Yeah.
Tell me about your Seahawks going into this game. What do Giants fans have to worry about? Because I'm going to tell you what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Kenneth
go
Walker.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Kenneth Walker because the Giants' run defense the last 3 weeks has been awful.
Yeah.
I've seen what he's been doing for you guys, and that is a big, big concern for me running off the edge against the Giants.
Yeah, no, I got you. Here's my thing. When Penny went down, I didn't have a lot of faith in our running game because I thought Walker was going to do fine, but our depth after that was going to lack. And we do get Travis Homer back this week, so that should help, but he's more of a third down pass catching back. But Kenneth Walker's really surprised me in the aspect of his big playability, and he's breaking runs off to the outside. Now, I think running in between the tackles, I think it's got to happen more, and I think there's got to be an emphasis to do it because that's what's really going to push this run game forward. But, at the deadline, I wouldn't mind getting another back just for a compliment reason. But, going into this game, I think we need one of the guys to play between Lockett and Metcalf. That's first off.
What is that looking like? Because last I heard, they're both game time decisions right now.
Yeah, I think Lockett's going to suit up because this was the same situation last week. Limited practice during the week, but he still suited up. So I think that's what will be the case this week. Metcalf, I don't think he's going to play. I think he's going, and if he does play, it's going to be very limited snap count. But then again, I got the faith in our tight ends. Great tight end room with Fant, Disley, and Parkinson, and then we have Marquise Goodwin, who stepped up really well last week against the Chargers. So I got confidence in what we can do without Metcalf or Lockett, or if we have one that's limited, one that's not. So, that's how I feel about it right now.
What do you think about the Giants?
You want my honest opinion?
I want your honest opinion. I want to hear from a Seahawks fan.
It's not going to be pleased. You're not going to like it, but I think you guys are still. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I know you guys are 6-1, but I just don't buy it right now.
When you say you don't buy it, what do you mean? Do you not buy us being a good team? Do you not buy us how do you value us?
Being a contender in the NFC.
Okay.
That's how I see it because, like to my point earlier, the teams in the NFC I believe are going to get better, and the competition is going to be a lot tougher coming down the stretch. And I don't know if the Giants can hang in these games.
No. I completely understand why people say that. And I completely understand why Giants fans feel that way. There's certain Giants fans feel that way. But when you say teams are going to get better, do you think it's fair for me to think the Giants are going to get better? Because the Giants are a very young team.
Yeah.
They have a brand new coach. They're still learning on both sides of the ball. So I think it's only fair to think that we're going to get better as well.
That's fair. No, I totally get what you're saying. But the games you're going to need to win are those divisional games against Philly, Dallas for sure. Because you guys got two good teams in that division alone that you're fighting with. And you're going to have to fight with the field in the NFC. I don't see that battling or ending up well for you guys come playoff time if you guys hold on and get there. Unless you guys collapse or something. But I don't see that happening. But just a hypothetical.
So you view us as a playoff team, but not a first-round exit?
Probably, yes. It all depends on matchup and momentum and all that good stuff. But, as it stands today, I don't see a deep run from you guys. And listen, do I see a deep run from us? Probably not. But I think the momentum we've built the past 2 weeks has really shocked me. And when I was watching you and Bad Dog do the stream, you mentioned it too. None of the Seahawks fans expected this out of us. And to that point, I would say yes, because, and well, this is my opinion. A lot of the guys I talked to out of my fan base were just tank mode all day. I just wanted us to be competitive in each game. And I said we could win possibly 7 to 9 games. And, I think that's looking fair right now. But then again, this is going to be a big win or not a big win, big game for the conference standings. And, just the overall momentum heading into the back half of the season.
Oh, this is a huge game for both teams. Because if the Giants win, you're 7-1 going into the bye, and then you got the Texans and the Lions coming out. So we're staring 9-1 in the face. And we are legitimately competing to have the number 1 seed in the NFC at that point. I don't care what your team looks like. If you're 9-1 with 7 to go, you got 2 games against the Eagles. If you ever win those, you're probably getting the 1 seed in the NFC. So huge game for the Giants.
No.
And obviously a huge game for you guys because, like you said, you'd be 5-3. You'd be first. You'd maintain first in your division. You'd have the tiebreaker against the Giants if we end up having to compete for a wild card spot down the stretch. So it's a big game for both teams. You guys are at home, so you have the home field advantage there. Geno Smith, tell me a bit about him. What the hell is going on with Geno Smith?
I'll tell you what. Geno is distributing the ball at a level that I did not think was possible. Now, last season, there were glimpses of that during his time, the 3 games he played with Russell being out. But even in the Denver game in the first half, Geno was distributing the ball out very well. In the Detroit game, the Charger game, Arizona, he makes the plays when you need to, and he won't lose you the game. Yeah, maybe he lost us the game against the Saints, but then again, the defense wasn't really helping out either. And the defense, from what I've seen, not to get off topic with Gino, but the defense has been break, or what is it?
Bend but don't break. Bend but don't break.
Yeah, bend but don't break. But to Gino, I think the success is off the weapons he has, obviously. And listen, Seattle's weapons, when healthy, I think are some of the best in the league. I think that's a fair take. You got two great wide receivers, a fine running back right now in Walker, and a great tight end room, I think. And I'll tell you what, the offensive line play too is really enhancing this team, because what's been the narrative in Seattle for the past 5 seasons?
Yeah,
the offensive line play has been poor.
Yeah.
And that is kicking up this season, which is obviously going to elevate Gino's pocket presence and, just his confidence overall. But I think Gino's experience in the league too has really benefited, and him sitting behind great quarterbacks throughout his duration of his career. So, and I think with the complement of our running game has helped play action and just instilled more confidence in Gino.
Sounds a lot like the Giants offense. Sounds a lot like the Giants offense. We've relied on the run, and Daniel Jones has been a very good quarterback because of it. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good test for both teams. I need your final score prediction.
Final score, I'll say 24-20.
Giants.
No.
I tried, guys, in the chat. I tried. So you got a similar score to I do. I got 20.
And I'll just tell you guys this. 2 weeks ago, did I have the same confidence about this game? No. After the New Orleans game, but after Arizona, I started getting more confidence in what this team could truly do. And are they going to compete deep down in the NFC this year? Maybe not. But can they fight off and get into the playoffs and maybe make some noise? Sure. The NFC's been obviously weaker this year. So I think this is a big game, like you said, for all the points you made. But to really stamp your seal on your team's momentum going forward and what your team can truly be. So that's
I'm so amped up for this game.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a really good game. And if I would have told you, Brandon, look around the schedule this week. This is the only game. If I would have told you this week 1 before the year started, that week 8 when we play you guys, we're gonna be the only teams playing each other that have a winning record, you would have called me a lunatic.
Oh my God, no, yeah. People were predicting Seattle to win 5 games.
And people were picking the Giants to win 6.
Yeah.
So right now, this is the game of the week. Like if they had a flex game this week, which they don't, it's not until later in the year, this would be flex to Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
This is the game of the week, which is crazy, but it is. So I can't wait for the game tomorrow. I hope you enjoy it.
Can I get your opinion on this? The last thing. I don't want to hold it up any longer, but I heard what you said about the Niners. You said they were your Super Bowl pick. You're sticking to them.
Yeah, well, that was my pick preseason, so I'm a stubborn guy. I'm going to stick with it. I had Bills Niners, so I'm sticking with it.
No, I got you, but do you think they beat the Rams this week, and do you think they go on a little bit of a run?
Yes.
With McCaffrey.
I haven't looked at their schedule, but I think they beat the Rams this week.
Okay.
I think they beat the Rams this week.
Sure.
But Brandon, I'm going to let you go.
Thank you.
And enjoy the game tomorrow, but don't enjoy it too much.
Great connecting with you again. I'll stay in the chat on the ride home. Appreciate it.
All right, be good, man. Enjoy the game. All right. We're gonna get Jay Dimes in the chat. What's going on, Jay? Jay Dimes. What's going on, Jay Dimes?
Yo, what is up, Chris? I am mad excited for tomorrow's battle. 2 of the probably best teams in the conference are battling out in Seattle. I'm excited.
Yeah, listen, 2 of the most unexpected teams in the league. I think that you could definitely say that right now.
Definitely. I don't know, man. To think that we actually we are actually looking at the Giants as a playoff team and them possibly going out to get a wide receiver to help out Daniel Jones in this offense. Nobody really could actually say they were predicting this to actually happen before the season started.
No, anybody that says they predicted it are either just blind homers or they're full of it.
Yeah, because
and by the way, I love blind homers.
Yeah,
I love them. Those are my favorite types of fans. But if you told me before the year started you thought this team was going to be 6-1, you are either smoking something really good, you're either full of crap, or you're a blind homer. But I love you for it. And congratulations if you predicted this, but no person that was trying to be reasonable and rational going into the year thought the New York Giants were going to start 6-1.
Yeah, I did have the Giants winning 9 games, but like the way that they won the games, it was literally coming down to like the last wire with the Eagles. I had the Giants like knocking off the Eagles in the last game to see who made it to the playoffs. So still, just the fact that they are already having 6 wins is crazy. So like I said, it's great that we actually can look into like the November, the December instead of actually worrying about the freaking draft. You know what I'm saying? Because over the past couple of seasons, that's really been how it's been for us fans. Not really worrying about how we look in December because we were too focused on the freaking draft. But again, it's great that we are actually playing some winning football right now.
Yeah, dude. You know how happy I am to be on my channel not talking about draft prospects in week 7? You know how much I was dreading that, when the year started? If the Giants started like 1-6, Giants fans asking me which quarterback you think we should draft. Like now I'm like, no, we're keeping Daniel Jones. I'm worried about this year. I'm worried about making the playoffs. So it feels nice to finally have a year where we're gonna have meaningful football. Hopefully, I not even hopefully, I think almost definitely into January. So it feels really good right now to be a Giants fan.
Yeah, and with Daniel Jones, I got my name off of Danny Dimes. You know what I'm saying? That's the origin of my name.
I figured.
The origin of my name came from Danny Dimes. And to see him playing this type of football, it's amazing to watch because even when we were in the Titans game, which we did end up winning, that first half, a lot of Giants were pessimistic about the season already.
Yeah, I'll be the first to say it, man. In our live chat, 90% of the chat was done with the season already.
Yeah, and it was kind of foreshadowing how the next couple of games are going to go for us because the Giants are a second half team. And for tomorrow's game, one thing that I think would help us hugely would be if the Giants offense started off a little bit quicker like they did
last week. They scored a touchdown on their first drive.
Yeah. If we can let's keep
the
that
problem
going.
Was last week the defense started off crappy.
Yeah, the defense definitely did not show up to play in Jacksonville. But yeah, the offense, if the offense comes out and looks how they did in that first drive versus Jacksonville, then I think we're going to have a real shot to really run away with the game. It's really the defense that in the running game, like you said, it's worrisome. And I know that we do have Leonard Williams back, like you said, but Kenneth Walker, with me being an Ohio State Buckeyes fan, I watched him in college at Michigan State. He's always been a home run hitter. He's always been this type of player. And I knew that if he ever did get healthy, because I think he did deal with some injuries early on, he was going to be a pretty decent running back. And he's looking like he is a decent running back right now. So on a scale to 1 to 10 right now, what is your worry level about our run defense versus Kenneth Walker tomorrow?
Oh, pretty high. I think our run defense right now is a problem. 8.5.
Yeah.
I am, but in terms of my confidence against their run defense, it's at a 9 or a 10 as well.
Oh yeah.
I think we're going to be able to run all over them, but our run defense is definitely a major concern for me. Not just this game, but until we start to figure out, we've been bad every week against the run.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. It just seems like teams are able to just grab those 6-8 yard gains each and every per pop every single time against during the run. But when I'm looking at the offense again, I feel like this has to be a game where Saquon Barkley literally just takes off. I'm not even talking about how he looked in the first half. If you see the stats, him in the second half, he's freaking awesome. But in the first half of games, he's not looked that good. I think this is a game where Saquon Barkley looks good throughout the whole game. I really do. I think.
This is if Saquon Barkley is ever going to make an MVP push, which he's not going to win the MVP. Let's be honest with ourselves. If Jonathan Taylor didn't win the MVP last year, a running back's not going to win the MVP. But if Saquon Barkley's ever going to even really enter the MVP conversation, this 3-game window is going to be where he does it. He's going up against literally the 3 worst run defenses in football the next 3 weeks. 30, 31, and 32. And Barkley already has 720 yards on the ground. So if he's able to rattle off 500 yards in the next 3 weeks on the ground, this is opportunity to enter that MVP talk. So I expect Barkley to have a really good stretch here these next 3 weeks.
And when I'm looking at the offensive line too, Josh Azudu, when he was coming out in the draft, we were looking at him. wasn't he mostly known as being a better run blocker than pass blocker, right?
Azuda, yes, but Azuda was known as a project though. But
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
he's a project. But yes, I mean, I don't think we're gonna have much of a problem in terms of run blocking. And I know our starters are out, but I think we'll be able to run block. It's the pass protection, especially tomorrow with our two starters that are out, where
Yep.
I worry about it a bit. But if we're, I do think we'll be able to hold up pretty well against this Seattle defense. I don't think the Seattle defense is very good.
Yeah. Don't sleep on some of their corners though. I think it's Tyreek Woolen, the rookie. I think he had a stretch where he was just catching interceptions, and they've looked really good, like y'all was talking about earlier. Their draft class has looked, pretty good. So I'm not sleeping on the Seahawks, but I am more confident against their team than I was last week versus Jacksonville because
So you're more confident. That's interesting because I was not super confident against Jacksonville either. I picked the Giants, but I thought it'd be really tight. I think this game's going to be tight too.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm like equally confident going into this game as Jacksonville. So that's interesting because I think most people disagree with us. Most people think they're very doubtful about this game going in.
I just think Jacksonville is just like a better overall team. I think they have more like, I know that they do have DK and he's not going to be playing in this game. I don't think. I think he has 2 injuries, kind of. I've seen ribs and I think he had like a foot injury, something like that. But I think Trevor Lawrence raises the ceiling against Geno Smith. I don't think Geno Smith can make the plays like Trevor Lawrence can. Even though I think that's
a fair point of view.
Yeah, so I think
But Geno's been playing well though. Geno's been playing well.
Yes, Geno Smith has been playing well. I remember watching them in Week 1 on Monday Night Football. He had a great game. I was like, that's a good little game. But I don't think he's going to be able to keep up with it, and he has kept up with it throughout the season. But with the Jacksonville, they had the 2 running backs with Travis Etienne and James Robinson. And now James Robinson didn't make that big of an impact, but them 2 alone scared me going into that game. With Seattle, them without DK Metcalf definitely helps us because I think DK Metcalf versus Adoree Jackson, I think we both can agree that DK Metcalf probably has the advantage, even though Adoree Jackson has looked great this season.
I don't think DK's playing though. I really don't.
Yeah. So him being out most likely definitely helps us. So I want to see how our pass or how our secondary looks going up against, Geno Smith without DK Metcalf. I don't think we should be getting, thrown on all game with DK Metcalf not in the game. Now, Tyler Lockett,
I agree with you, and I see Tolu. I think it's Tolu in the chat as well. Agrees with you. I agree with you. I think I was more scared about the Jaguars going in than Seattle, and I'm like scared that I feel that way. The only thing that scares me more about Seattle is I do think we're playing in a much harsher environment. Seattle's a really tough place to play historically. It's a really tough crowd, and it's back-to-back road games.
Yeah.
So I guess in that context, but in terms of their team, I was more scared about the Jaguars going in, and I don't care about the records. I was more scared about the Jaguars going in, and I know Seattle looked really good last week against the Chargers. I don't hate the way we match up against this football team, though. I really don't.
Yeah, I just think that if you're looking like the Seattle Seahawks and the Giants are kind of like the same team, kind of. We're looking at them in the run game, how that is a real like focal point of the offense. But with Seattle, I'm just like I said, I don't think that I think the Giants match up better versus Seattle than they did in Jacksonville. And it just dates back to the quarterback. Geno Smith is playing awesome, but I'm gonna be kind of disappointed if Wink Martindale's defense is getting toasted by Geno Smith without his number 1 wide receiver. I do think Geno Smith though is gonna play with an extra chip on his shoulder. This is kind of like a revenge game for him. If you remember that he was the guy that Eli Manning was benched for. So, that kind of, he might come out firing on all cylinders just because of that. But I want to know, with the defensive line, with Tibbs and Lawrence and them, do you think they have a better performance than last week? Because I do think they did have a pretty decent game last week. Dexter Lawrence came up big. I think it was on the was it a screen play that he had tripped up ETN or like a sneak or something like that? That Lawrence made a good play or something.
Lawrence had a couple of good plays last week. Lawrence has been great all year.
Yeah.
I will say Seattle so far this year, and I don't watch Seattle, but from everything I've read, their line has played really well. Their tackles have played really well. So that's a little bit of a worry for me in this game. But I think our defensive line is really good. I still worry about our run defense, though. I really worry about the run defense. And it has nothing to do with Seattle. It's whoever we play right now. I worry about the run defense. But I think we got a really good chance to win this game. I think we have a better chance than a lot of people think we do going into this game. I hate feeling this confident because I usually like to try to be as conservative as I possibly can. I'm feeling pretty confident going in. I'm not that I'm guaranteeing victory or anything like that,
Yeah.
but I'm feeling pretty confident going in. I got us by about a touchdown. I like the way we match up with Seattle.
When I'm looking at the score, I just based off how every game for the Giants has went, and it's literally been like each and every week the Giants are rather needing a field goal on offense or they need to make a big stop on defense. Your heart's gonna be racing. I feel like it's gonna be another game where the Giants are gonna be in a moment where they had to make a stop. Your heart's gonna be racing. I think this will be a close game. I think this will be like a 23-20-ish, like y'all said, 24-20-ish type of game. But I do have the Giants winning this game. I think the Giants have faced, I don't want to say tougher opponents, but I feel
No,
like
they have. I'll
yeah.
say it. We have faced tougher opponents. We have not played in tougher stadiums.
Yeah.
This is the toughest environment we're going to be playing in thus far to this year, for sure. But the Ravens are a tougher opponent.
Yeah, for sure.
I would even venture to say the Titans are probably a tougher opponent.
Yeah.
But the Seattle's, I'm not discounting them. They're a good team. They're playing well. And this will be a test. But I think the Giants will be up for it.
And like I said, I'm confident. You're confident. One other reason why I'm so confident is because that we are the underdogs. I feel like the Giants, then they've said it to the media that they basically adapted to the underdog mentality. And we're looking at the Giants not being the underdogs, being favored to win. That was only in one game this season. That was versus Cooper Rush on Monday Night Football versus Dallas Cowboys. And we lost that game. So with us being the underdogs, I feel like the Giants are going to play with even a more extra chip on their shoulder. They already came out and said that they aren't satisfied being 6-1. So I think that alone, looking at the mentality, I feel like the Giants are going to come out there. I feel like they're going to make plays, but I do think Seattle are going to also make plays when the chances show themselves. But I do have the Giants win this game. But yeah, that's really it. Oh no, one other thing. With the wide receiver and like the trade deadline type of talk, in your opinion, if you had to predict one wide receiver the Giants would trade just based off the top of your head, which wide receiver do you think would make the move for?
Yeah, I say Judy, but that's if he's even available. There's rumors that he will be. If we're going for a veteran guy, I'll say Cooks. I could see Cooks making sense if the deal's right. Like if it's like, we're not giving up a ton of draft capital and they're eating, a decent amount of his remaining contract. But I would go Cooks or Judy. Those would be the two guys. Those are the two guys that I could see making a decent impact that, maybe guys that we could acquire that would fit this offense pretty well.
Yeah, because I know some people. I don't know where the T. Higgins rumors are coming from.
Why the hell would they trade T. Higgins?
Yeah, I don't know where people are getting that from. But Chase Claypool, I'm not a big fan of Chase Claypool, at least in our offense.
That's exactly what I said when somebody asked me about Claypool. I don't love the fit for the type of scheme that we're going to run.
Yeah, because with Daniel Jones, I feel like he strives better with guys that, create separation, like Wan'Dale Robinson. So a guy like Brandon Cooks, who is a deep threat, I would like him in our offense. Jerry Jeudy, even though he has dealt with the drops, that is one, glaring red flag. I feel like he's talented, man. I feel like he's a very talented wide receiver. Again, it is depending on if the Broncos have him out there on the market. I heard some people say they want a first-round pick for him.
For Judy?
Yeah.
I don't know if I heard that, but they might. I mean, he is young. He is talented. I'm not giving up a first-round pick.
Yeah, I'm not giving up a first-round pick for Jerry Jeudy. He doesn't even have 1,000 yards on his belt. But
no.
I do think Jeudy is a guy that if the compensation is reasonable, I do think that is a guy. And then Brian Dable was at Alabama where Jerry Jeudy was at Alabama, so he does have a little bit of rapport with them, being that Alabama roots right there. But if I had to predict someone, see, I was a DJ Moore guy, but like the more
I just think the contract, man.
Yeah, the contract is huge, and he is also coming off probably his best game of the season with PJ Walker at quarterback last week versus the Buccaneers, and
unlike Cooks, because I think I saw somebody in the chat ask this before I started. Why do Giants fans think, why would they take on Cooks and not Moore? They both make a lot of money. With Cooks, I think Houston has to eat the salary. I don't think Carolina would eat DJ Moore's salary because he's young.
Yeah,
he's worth that money.
Yeah, he's 25 years old.
We would have to take on that salary.
Yeah, Cooks is like, I think he's 29. I was reading he's 29.
He's going to be 30 next year.
Yeah, we'll be 30 next year. But yeah, I like Cooks though. I think Cooks is a very underrated wide receiver. I think the only reason why he hasn't looked that great this year is because the Texans overall have not been a great team, and I think that Brian Dable and Mike Kafka would have a perfect scheme for him in our offense. I would love him in our offense, but like you said, if I had to predict one right now, I do think Jerry Jeudy would be the one. He fits under the cap space. He does fit the age group, I guess you can say, of the team. And I think he does have more upside than a guy like Cooks. I think that
Oh, he definitely does. He definitely
yeah.
does. It's just a matter of what the price tag is going to be. But I'm going to let you go, buddy. Just got to trying to get to as many callers as I can. Thank you for calling in.
All right,
And,
thank you. Everybody be safe.
Let's go Giants, man. Thanks for calling in, Jay.
Yeah.
All right, let me just read a couple of these. Patrick Tisdale says, Chris, where the heck are you finding these people, bro? The dude Brandon I like Brandon. Don't go after Brandon. Brandon's been with my channel forever, and he's a Seahawks fan. I knew he was going to get a little slack coming on the Giants channel. Go G-Men and tell your boys, stand up, because we coming. Let's go. I appreciate it, Patrick. And listen, man, it's late. When it's late and people call in, you're going to get, some people are going to be a little drunk. Some people are going to be a little, smoking a little ganja. Maybe they'll just be tired. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm just having fun talking to you guys tonight, man. And Blue Collar says, rumor, the entertainer dropping diss track at Young Joker. Yeah, maybe me and Tony. I'm telling you right now, I really believe this. And I said it in my video, Blue Collar. That tweet that Tony came out with after the fact, that was directed at me. I really believe that, which I just think is hysterical that I got under his skin that much, but it's just funny. What's up, Jabari, man? Thanks for popping in the stream, man. What's going on there, Sam? Can I come back? I got a lot of callers I got to get to. We got John up next. John, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, buddy.
How you doing?
Good to talk to you, man. How you doing?
Good, good. So I'm very excited for this game tomorrow because my team is never good.
By the way, what's your avatar? What is that?
I just found it on Google, so I threw it on there.
I'm just curious. What
I don't know. I thought it was funny, so I just put it on there. It's like a clipart of like.
No, I think it's funny too. I just didn't know what it was. But what's up, man?
I'm doing good. How are you feeling about this game tomorrow? Because honestly, I'm pretty. This is the game I'm most confident about in the last 3 weeks.
I don't like that I'm more confident than most people, because usually this year I feel like I've been less confident than a lot of Giants fans. This week I feel like it's been the opposite, but I feel pretty confident going into this game. And normally I would look at Seattle and I'd be like, it's going to be tough. It's back-to-back road games. But I've looked at the way that this team has responded to adversity all year. I thought it was going to be really tough coming back from London against Baltimore. We responded. So I don't necessarily think the second week of travel is going to be as big of an impact as some fans do. And maybe I'm going to look like a fool for thinking that. And by no means am I going to be surprised if we lose tomorrow. But I'm pretty confident going into this game.
Yeah, I'm very confident. I think's the best about this team, they're all on the same page. Like last year, we didn't really know like where the players stood because they were just like they always seemed frustrated. You had like Galladay yelling at Jason Garrett, like they're miscommunicating on throws. They were just like, dropping everything. Everybody has the same mentality. Like they won that game, they weren't satisfied. That's what you want from a winning team. They're not the same team, and I think their talent was just hidden last year. Like they had more talent than what they showed.
Well, that's clearly obvious that they definitely have more talent than they showed last year. It's the coaching. It's Brian Dable. It's Mike Kafka. It's Wink Martindale. The coaching. That's been the biggest difference from last year's team. Dexter Lawrence suddenly looks like one of the best interior linemen in football. He never looked like that. Julian Love never looked like this. Several other players. So the coaching certainly has a ton to do with it.
Julian Love's so good. That guy needs to be a Pro Bowler.
Who?
Julian Love. He's so good.
Julian Love's been awesome this year.
He does everything you ask him to do. And the thing I have about the Seahawks, I mean, yeah, they're 4-3, but they let up so many points against like bad teams like the Lions. They let up 45 points and almost blew a lead to them.
I don't think they have a good. I don't think they have a good defense.
I think won by 3.
And I think the way this Giants team works, when you have a defense, and we'll see, maybe they'll surprise me, but when you don't have a good defense, it's going to be tough to beat the Giants because I think they're going to chew up the clock with that ground game. I think they're going to control the pace of play, but we'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong at the end of this game. We do have a lot of injuries, so I understand it from that standpoint too. Why fans are not super confident going into this game, but I am. I like the way we look right now, and I think a big reason why I'm getting more and more confident One, it's the coaching staff. I believe in Dable. There's just been way too much evidence now this year. I believe in Dable. I think they're going to come out prepared. I think there's going to be a good game plan. I think they'll make good in-game adjustments. But I think my biggest reason is Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
I have confidence in Daniel Jones now. I don't go into games anymore.
5 game-winning drives.
Yeah, I don't go into games anymore before they start saying, I hope Jones, just don't lose us the game. I'll be honest, I used to feel that way.
That's literally, it was expected. Like,
I don't
2 years
feel that
ago.
way anymore. Before the games start, I almost feel like going into the games, I'm like, I just hope Jones has a chance at the end of this game, and I'm going to have confidence that we're going to win it. So I just have a different mentality with the quarterback. I have a different mentality with the head coach. And if the Giants keep this game close, I do truly believe in the end, Daniel Jones is going to win it for us. And it gives you a completely different feeling of your football team week to week when you feel that way. And I feel that way with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, he surprised me. I'm honestly as shocked as anybody that he's playing this guy. He just looks like this might be a stretch, a fringe top 10 quarterback.
I think he is a fringe top 10 quarterback.
If you look at these other quarterbacks, like, he's playing better than all of them. He outplayed Aaron Rodgers. He outplayed Lamar Jackson. And yes, he might not have had the touchdowns, but against the Ravens, he didn't make the mistakes. Lamar Jackson made the mistakes, and that's what it matters. It doesn't matter how many, but your stats are going to say it's where you do with the stats. Like last drive, he didn't throw the ball, but he did it with his legs. People will discredit a running quarterback, but you can't.
I don't care how he does it. He's doing it, and he's coming up with plays when they need to be made.
I mean, this takes time for some people. I mean, they're not always going to be good out the gate. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks, like Josh Allen, he wasn't until he got like Stephon Diggs and Brian Dable as offensive coordinator. I mean, Daniel Jones who was the offensive coordinator of Shermer?
Shermer was the offensive coordinator.
Oh, like he was like the
He was the play caller. Shula was the offensive coordinator, but Shermer was the play caller. He might as well have been the offensive coordinator.
I forgot who the defensive coordinator was. Oh my god, that guy annoyed me.
Betcher,
yeah. And then he had Jason Garrett. Like that's not ideal. Jason Garrett never really put a good offensive product on the field. He was a terrible play caller. I mean, he played like it was 80s football.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
He had no line. I think what we gotta do tomorrow is attack Kobe Bryant. He's apparently looked good. I haven't seen it. He's been their weak link on defense.
Who'd you say?
Kobe Bryant, the rookie corner.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Giants. Yeah. Yes, 100. I think we're gonna be able to run on them though, big time.
We're gonna run right through them.
Yeah, and I think like that will set up some bigger passing opportunities as well though, if we play up the play action. But I think we started off setting it up with the run and we work in the pass. I think that's what we'll do with this game. I want to kick off. Last week I wanted the ball first. This week I don't. I want to kick off.
Yeah, we're a second half team. That's what it's gonna be. I mean, I have no problem with it. And like all the players are always like, we bring them into the deep end and drown them. Sorry for that. I didn't mean to curse, but I love that. I just like that's what you want to hear. Last year they were just like Saquon Barkley. Like look at him in the locker room compared to this year to last year. He was like
Saquon Barkley. If I pulled up, I wish right now I could. Well, I could find one. But if you go back and look at Saquon Barkley's post-game press conferences last year in comparison to this year, it literally looks like a different person. I felt so bad for Saquon Barkley last year during those press conferences because he was just like so depressed. He'd go into, he'd be like, oh, yeah, and I felt for him. And like this year, I feel so good for him because you could tell his love for football is back.
Yeah, like I mean, like last year, like they were asking like such stupid questions, like if you would consider sitting out the last game.
Yeah.
Like what do we do? Like who asked that? Like no, he loves the game. You don't want to like no player's ever gonna do that. I mean, maybe like the one time Odell Beckham kind of did, but like it's like he's such a different player this year, and even Kenny Galladay is showing it a little bit. I think the problem with Kenny Galladay is his confidence was he lost in Detroit. He came to New York because the Giants before last year, they kind of looked like they were going in the right direction. That's why maybe Galladay wanted to come here, and then he realized it was even worse. And he was losing again, and he wasn't getting the targets. And he hasn't honestly like said anything about it besides the one time, like he said he should be playing regardless. But he seems like a different player too.
Yeah, it seems. Well, winning does that. You know, when winning makes you want to show up to work. Winning brings a good culture, and it seems like Galladay's buying in. Hopefully now he produces when he gets out on the field. But John, I'm gonna try to get to a few more callers. But before I let you go, I need to know your score prediction tomorrow.
Let's see. I think we're gonna get our first 30-point game. 31
Wow.
31-20.
We should have had a 30-point game already, by the way.
We should have, but
go ahead. Go ahead.
Barkley made that smart play. 31-20. I think we're gonna be down. I think we're gonna be down 17 to like 10. I'm trying to see the score makes.
So wait. You think we're gonna outscore them 21-3 after being down 17-10?
Yes.
Whoa! Second half adjustments.
I think we'll destroy him in the second half. I think we're kind of like the Golden State Warriors when it comes to football. We win in the second half.
I just want to have a game where we just win start to finish, and I could just sit back and talk about movies for the whole fourth quarter with you guys. So I hope that's what happens.
It's better not be like last week. That was.
I know that's not going to happen. We could talk about how we think that this, that we're confident they're going to win convincingly. It's not going to happen. They're going to make us sweat it out. That's what the Giants always do. But hopefully you're right, and it's a convincing win tomorrow. And if it is, it'll feel really good for the next 2 weeks getting ready for the Houston Texans game that I'm going to be going to. But John, man, thank you so much for calling in. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. And I look forward to talking Giants football with you soon.
All right, you too.
Be good, John. John's awesome. I see him all the time on Twitter as well. And Michelangelo Phanopoulos says we got way more than a can of Coke for Tony. We did. It worked out in the end. And by the way, Demir, I saw your comment on my last video, man. I really appreciate the kind words, man. I don't remember exactly what you said, but I remember reading them like, wow, that was a really nice comment. So I appreciate it, man. I always try to let you guys know when I see your comments and they stick out to me. Yours definitely did. You said something like, I really appreciate your channel. And I think you said something like, I wish there was a way that I could support it even more, something like that. So I just want to say thank you so much, man, for the kind words, man. I really appreciated it. And I'll read your donation. Hey, Chris, would you ever do something where us fans could call in and talk to you for a bit or do call on topics? That would be sick. Listen, let me get your guys' suggestions because I always want to make these shows better because I like doing the fan interaction thing. But I understand like these shows get redundant when you get a lot of callers because they call in and a lot of them, some people don't have something to say. I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I appreciate everybody that calls in and supports the channel, but I would like it to be more structured. So any suggestions that you guys may have in terms of calling guests, because I want you guys to be involved. Always run it by me, man. Always run it by me, whether it be on Twitter, whether it be in my comments in the videos. I always try to listen to you, whether it be in the comment right now in the live stream. Just give me suggestions. But in terms of what you're asking, call in for a bit on topics, that would be sick. Like when you say that, you mean like organized topics going into the live stream? Maybe I'll do something like that. Maybe I'll ask you guys in a video, to come up with like 4 or 5, 6, 7 topics for a live stream. And and I'll have a caller for each topic. We call and we talk about it for 10 or 15 minutes with the chat. For sure. But any suggestions you guys have, man, I'm always trying to improve the channel, always trying to improve the live call-ins. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, just run ideas by me, guys. I'm always open to trying to improve it for you guys. Tommy B. He says, has Slayton done enough to be a part of the future? Yes. No, I don't want to say yes. I think it depends on what his market is. Could I see Slayton coming back next year on a cheap salary? Yes. Now, if he's going to be able to sign a decent contract, if you're the Giants, you let him walk. You say to yourself, I could maybe even get a comp pick. If this guy goes out there and signs an $8 or $9 million contract, you let him walk. But if he's willing to come back here on a cheap salary, I see no problem in bringing him back. He's got good chemistry with Daniel Jones. I'm not breaking the bank for him. But if he's willing to come back here on a cheap deal, I see no reason why you don't bring him back. You could bring him back for $2-3 million. I don't know what his market would be. I have no idea. But I think he's a solid number 4 or 5 wide receiver for sure. I'm not going to go above and beyond for him. We're limited with cap space. We have a lot of players that we have to bring back that are ahead of him, right? Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, Julian Love, Dexter Lawrence, you may want to extend. Andrew Thomas, you may want to extend. But if he's willing to come back here for a reasonable contract, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it at all. But it's got to, it can't be that high of a contract on a team-friendly deal, yeah. And MY Giants 26 says, Chris, I could talk your ear off for an hour. I know you could. Let's get the next guy on. Green LI, what's up, man? He's got the RJ Barrett side.
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man? Good to talk to you, buddy.
Good to talk to you too, man. Thanks you for making out the greatest content on YouTube. You know, I've been watching you for about 2-3 years now.
You're driving, man. You got to be safe. I hear the clicking.
Yeah, I'm about to pull over right now. Trust me.
No, I appreciate it though, man. Thank you, man.
You're excellent, dude. I love everything you do. I love all the play-by-plays. I love the reactions. Everything is great. I just had a couple questions. I'm gonna be real quick because I know you got people. Uh, what do you think about our rush defense? Like that's like the only thing I'm scared about. My confidence level is just like you. Every other game I really wasn't confident, but for some reason this game I'm confident. Why am I like that? Because I know that they're rushing. Like, I don't
For
want.
me, I think it's because of Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Like I think I've graduated to the point where I'm like I'm confident in Daniel Jones now week to week.
Okay.
Like that's for me personally. Like I'm not.
I am too.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm like
always like Daniel Jones.
I'm not saying I'm like confident that he's like the best of the best, but I'm confident that Daniel Jones is going to play well week to week. Where in the past I didn't feel that way every week.
It's crazy because I look at a lot of numbers and I do a lot of talking on a lot of other shows, but I looked at the numbers and Geno is ranked one spot above Daniel Jones in QBR rating. So
yeah, his stats are great, Geno.
But I feel like our defense will really shut down Geno for some reason. I don't know. I feel like our defense will shut him down in the second half. I feel like the first half we're going to fill him out. Second half we might shut him down. I just don't know. I think Saquon will have a good game. I think Daniel Jones will have a good game too as well. But who do you think will step up out of the wide receiver group?
That's a great question. I think Wan'Dale. I think Wan'Dale, I'm getting more and more confidence with him week to week. And Slayton. I think Slayton's our best vertical threat. Like Slayton could have 2 touchdowns last week had it not been for a pass interference late in the game, right? Like that might have been another touchdown had he not been interfered with. So I could see Slayton catching another touchdown for sure. I'm starting to gain more and more confidence in him in this offense, but I think Wan'Dale's the guy I trust the most, and he's the guy that I think is going to improve week to week to week to week, being that he's young and he's just getting back. So I think Wan'Dale. I think Wan'Dale's the guy I'm most confident in.
Okay. And I just want to ask you one more question about the team. And do you think the Giants winning has lit a fire under KG?
Yeah, man. I think
because, like you said, he hasn't won in Detroit, so this is like so it's like why wouldn't you want to come?
I'm scared to buy in even a little bit to Kenny Golladay because I've said it before. Where I'm like, this might be the week. I might not always vocalize it on YouTube, but I've said it before in my head. I'm like, this is going to be the week that he has that big game and he starts to turn around. And he's failed me before, but he's given off really good vibes. I'll say that. And he's hard not to root for because I do think he's a good guy and I do think he wants to perform. And I do think, he's an athlete at the end of the day. He has a bit of an ego. He wants to perform. He wants to show what he's made of. So we'll see when he gets back because obviously he's not playing this week. I'm thinking he's going to be back after the bye. But I see no reason why Kenny Golladay can't contribute to this football team. He's never going to be the wide receiver that we were hoping he was going to be. But I see no reason why he can't contribute to this football team when he gets back.
Mm-hmm.
I hope anyway. I hope. I don't think he's going to be like this dominant number 1 wide receiver, which is what we were hoping.
I don't think I'm not hoping. This is my thing. The Giants can get to the red zone where Kenny Golladay can be efficient, and that's where we can use him. You know what I mean? We can use him in a red zone. Though Daniel Jones looks like he can throw a back shoulder. He looks nice throwing a back shoulder now. Where Kenny Golladay can just go up and be physical and grab the ball. Physicality is the game that he wins. So I think that's where we can utilize him. And like you said, he doesn't have to be our star wide receiver. He doesn't have to be in every single snap. And
by the way, I just saw people say it in the chat. I'm just going to look it up to confirm it. Adam Schefter. Yeah, and here it is. Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf was carted off last Sunday with a patella tendon injury. Some suspected he might be sidelined for weeks, but Metcalf listed as questionable for Sunday will return from his injury sooner than expected and play versus the Giants. And Lockett's playing. So both of them are going to play tomorrow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Giants secondary has to step it up tomorrow. Big day for the secondary tomorrow. I still think the Giants should shut it down. My score for tomorrow, I got the Giants winning 27-21. I think they'll get it done. I think Daniel Jones will really put him on the back again. I don't know if it'll be another fourth quarter drive, but I think we'll take care of business.
I still think we're going to win. I'm with you. And we don't know if DK is going to have a full role or not, right? He still may be limited. We'll see, but I'm with you. I still think we're going to win this game. But we'll see. It's going to be a tough game, though. I'm not discounting Seattle, but I feel good going in, man. But I appreciate you, the kind words, man. I appreciate you calling in. And thank you for all the support on the channel, man.
Thanks, Tanner. I'll always be here, man.
All right, get home safe, man. Later, buddy. All right, let's get NY Giants 26. Chris. I read that one, actually. I just forgot to pull up the next one. Thank you, NY Giants 26. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anybody while I was talking. I don't think I did. Just get the DB reel here. What's up, DB? He says we have to limit throws towards Woolen. I think we need to just limit throws in general. I think we need to try to run the ball as much as we can because I'm worried about Seattle chewing up the clock on their end with their running back. So I think that's obviously a huge key to the game for the Giants is control the clock, control the pace of play. Obviously, I want us to throw because it's going to set up the run, but I think the Giants can't get away from the run tomorrow. You don't want to get into a shootout. That's not where we're at our strength. So run, set up the pass, or pass, set up the run, whatever it may be, but I need a healthy balance like the New York Giants have been doing. DK is back, game over. Relax. Tommy G, what's going on, man? Tommy G?
Thanks for letting me on.
Yeah, man, absolutely. What's up, buddy?
Hey, so I just wanted to talk about, and everybody's got great takes on everything. Everybody that calls in, everybody that comments, everybody's got their little take on everything, and that's good. Kind of opens up your mind. So for me, draft picks are like, except for the first round pick, but anything 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're kind of nameless. I mean, they're kind of, you don't know who they are. I mean, they're nameless. There's, you don't know whether it's Jerry Rice or you don't know whether it's, a bust. So the question is, do you think with the wide receiver, if we went out and gave up some draft picks for a wide receiver, are the Giants good enough to go and win the Super Bowl?
So you're asking me if we had Jerry Jeudy, are we good enough to win the Super Bowl?
Pretty much.
I mean, my answer to you is probably not, but at the end of the day, what I'll tell you is you never know. Because I would have told you probably not in 2007 also, and we won. So you never know. If you get in, what I'll tell you is there's nobody in the NFC that really blows me away. I'll tell you that. True. And I'll tell you if we could ever get the number 1 seed. If we win our division, we're probably getting the number 1 seed. So if we win our division and we get the number 1 seed, we have a chance. So is it likely? Probably not. But can it happen? Sure. I would have said it's not likely for Cincinnati last year at the start of the playoffs. They did it. So it can happen.
And tomorrow's game's kind of I mean, I've been like this for the last, we're 6-1. So I've been like this for the last 6 or 7 weeks where I always thought the Giants would win or could win. And I was shocked. I have to admit, I was shocked when they won. And then, they won in the, fourth quarter and they came back and they won. And they're shocking the NFL. They're shocking the world, but they're just not getting any love whatsoever. It's almost like it's all a facade, that it's all going to come. I mean, I watch, Pat McAfee, and he just does not buy into the Giants at all. I mean, and it just drives me crazy. I mean, what is it about this team? I don't know. I think it's the Daniel Jones. Nobody's sold on Daniel Jones. I am. I have no problem. I think I love Daniel Jones, but a lot of people just are not sold.
I think it's a couple of things. It's Daniel Jones is definitely a large part of it. People are just 100% not sold on. There are some people that are, but most people are not still sold on Daniel Jones in terms of being, a legitimate, top 10, top half of the league quarterback. So that's definitely a big part of it. I also think they look at the injuries on the team. We have a ton of injuries. I also think they look at the way we've been winning these games. We haven't really had a convincing win yet. We've had impressive wins, but it hasn't been in convincing fashion. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that has a lot to do with it. But I think you hit it on the head. I think the main thing is Daniel Jones. If these analysts and these people that don't believe in the New York Giants thought that Daniel Jones was of the caliber of a Joe Burrow, for example, they wouldn't be doubting us right now. They would be like, yeah, this is a legitimate football team. They're a threat. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think people still have not bought into Daniel Jones quite yet in terms of being a legitimate, like really good starter in the NFL.
Yeah, and I truly do wish. I don't know what's going on with Galloway. I mean, is it another one of these personality thing, or is it an injury? I mean, I mean the whole thing with Tony was driving me crazy because every week I would say he's not playing, he's not playing, he's not playing. It's like, what? I mean, how long does it take for these guys to recover from their injuries, or is it like they're trying to make a point that if you're acting up, you're not going to play? So I don't know what's going on. Is it a personality thing with Galloway? I mean, obviously,
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I hope it's not anyway, but I don't think so. It seems like Galladay wants to play, and I think we're so thin at the wide receiver right now with all our injuries.
Yeah,
If he was capable of playing, I think he'd be out there.
I would love to see the guy step onto the field. I think he can be a great help.
I think he'll be back after the bye. But yeah, I don't think it's that this week at least. Maybe at the beginning of the year, but I don't think it's that right now. We're way too thin at that position. I think if he was capable of playing, he'd be out there.
Right. Great. Hey, thanks. Thanks for letting me on. Take care.
No, man, I appreciate you for calling in, and thank you for being a great supporter on the channel. Hopefully, the New York Giants get a win tomorrow, man. Hopefully, people start buying into us a bit. And Eric says, what's the Discord? Yeah, I was trying to find the link. I don't know if somebody in here is in my Discord that could send the link. It's not. I can't access the Discord the way I used to be able to access. I haven't been in there in probably 4 or 5 days because I've just been taking a break from Discord and just the internet in general. I pop on Twitter, but I haven't been on my Discord in probably about 4 or 5 days. But I can't access the link the way that I used to be able to access it. So I will try to get it to you by tomorrow. But I was trying to get it because I saw your donation. I was trying to get it while I was talking. And I can't get to the room right now. I don't know why, but I will try to get you that link by tomorrow. So I'll have it in the live chat tomorrow if I could get it. But if somebody has it in the chat, just drop it. But I don't have the link. Eli, man, thank you very much. Hail Tana, off topic thoughts. By the way, I'm probably going to start a new Discord, by the way. I'm still going to be in that Discord, but I think I'm going to start a new Discord that's more organized for you guys. So be on the lookout for that because I'll probably start a new Discord that is just like Giant specific. Because that's more of like a broad Discord. So I'm probably going to start my own Discord. So when I do, I'll let you guys know. Probably within a couple of weeks. Eli says, Hail Tana, off topic. Thoughts on the HOD finale? The HOD finale. Oh, the House of Dragons finale. I have not watched it yet. So I wish I could give you my thoughts. I have not watched it yet. I'm planning on binge watching it. I watched the first episode of House of Dragons. I liked it, but I have not watched it yet. I've not watched episode 2. I've not watched episode 3. But I am going to watch it probably during the bye week. That's probably when I'll watch a lot of the shows that I want to catch up on. I've been catching up on Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Been rewatching that show. I love that show. But yeah, I'll probably watch that during the bye week, at least part of it. But I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the show yet. Let's see. Let's get Mets on. What's going on, Mets?
Been a bit.
How you doing, buddy?
Little disgruntled. I did a bit of a stream with Destiny Decade on my own channel for Game 2 of the World Series.
Phillies lost, right?
Yeah, and I'm not happy about it. If you're wondering why I'm going Phillies, I love a good underdog story, and it's the main question of can Dusty Baker get the monkey off his back, if you know what I mean.
Mets, I have to ask you a question.
What? Why am I going?
I love you, buddy.
Why am I going?
You're a Mets fan, obviously, by your name, right?
Yes, and you're wondering why I'm going Philly?
Well, not only why are you going Phillies, you also went Atlanta Braves last year.
Right. Well, here's the thing. Last year, it was more because I was mad at what happened to Atlanta, no more, no less, with the All-Star game. This year, it's just that Mets tanked in the wild card. I had nothing better to do. And between them and Atlanta, I hate the Phillies a little less this year because they basically, that's all.
You're killing me.
I'm
You
sorry.
cannot root for the Philadelphia Phillies if you're a Mets fan.
I'm sorry. I can't help this. I mean,
No, you can help it. You root for the Houston Astros. That would be like a Yankee fan rooting for the Red Sox.
I'm still a bit bitter after what happened a few years ago, all right?
You're killing me, bro. But what's up, man? Let's talk some Giants.
Anyway, look, last week, I'm sure the refs got paid off because they wanted to see the Vegas spread go Jacksonville's way. We all know this. Why throw so many BS flags at us in the final minute plus? Know what I mean?
The refs were horrible last week.
How much you want to bet they're going to be just as bad, as if not worse? And unfortunately, I can't get that game because the national game of the week is LA San Francisco for me down here.
Well, you could do two things. You could do one of three things. You'd probably have enough time to fly to Seattle to watch the game. Option 2 is you could tune into Bad Dog and myself stream. Option 3, you could drive to New York and watch the game at a local bar. So you got 3 options tomorrow, Mets.
I think I'll just do option 2.
All right, so you're worried about the refs tomorrow, but now I need your opinion on who's going to win this game and why they're going to win it.
It's 50-50 for me. I mean, I'm looking at this game as the trap game, not the one in Jacksonville.
But why is it a trap game? I want what's your definition of a trap game? Because I'm going to give you my definition of a trap game. My definition of a trap game is when you're playing a game you're supposed to win, but you're overlooking the opponent. So if you're the New York Giants, why would you overlook Seattle for Houston? So I don't see how this is a trap game.
Look at the guy who's quarterbacking the Seahawks. Geno Smith. A guy who on paper...
But he's playing well.
Yeah, but on paper, you'd think he'd suck a massive amount of eggs. I mean, look at his tenure with the Jets. Look at the brief stint he had with us. And look at wherever else he went before he landed in Seattle. He was horrible.
Right. He's not horrible this year, though.
Well, that's where the trap is laid. It's in Geno to me.
Okay. All right. I'll buy it. So you think we're going to lose?
We might win, but it's gonna be another nail biter. I mean, we're the kings this year of playing butt ugly football and still getting wins. You can't deny that fact.
That's what the Giants have done the best. They've played ugly. They've played ugly, disgusting football, and they've come out with W's.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Giants. I'm going to say 23-22.
1-point game. Giants for the win. We get to the bye at 7-1.
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. And how do we win? Who has a good game for the Giants on offense?
On offense, it's going to be either Jones, Barkley, and maybe even Richie James. Because let's face it, with Bellinger basically getting his eye socket crushed, Rush, that's probably the best option Jones has for a receiver these days.
Okay.
Because
I feel you, Mets. So you got the Giants winning.
Bellinger got his eye completely gouged out.
Let's go. You got the Giants 23-22. We'll see if Mets is right. Mets, I'm going to let you go because I got to get some sleep before the game tomorrow.
Thanks, Chris.
I always close
out. By
out.
the way, the guys kicked me out of the Discord for nothing this time. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm going to start a new Discord, so don't worry about it.
All right.
Be good, Mets. Thanks for calling in, man.
Sorry about going Philly with this one.
You're pissing me off with that, but that's all right. That's all right. All right. NY Giants 26 says, with Dable as our head coach, I'm confident we could beat anyone we are matched up against. He can do it on and off the field. Has 6 kids. I didn't know he has 6 kids. Sources say he performed my ACL reconstruction surgery. Love him. He's done a great job this year, and I agree with you. I have just as much confidence in the team week to week because of him as Daniel Jones. So he's done a great job. I know each and every week he is either gonna outcoach the opponent or he's gonna match him. Like, I have that much confidence in Brian Dable and just this overall coaching staff. So that's a huge advantage that the New York Giants have week to week. And hopefully he outcoaches another coach that's won a Super Bowl, right? He outcoached Doug Peterson. He won a Super Bowl. And he outcoached Harbaugh, who has won a Super Bowl. So hopefully he can knock off another Super Bowl winning head coach. I'm looking forward to it this week. Mets kills me. Always getting. What's up, Percy, man? Chris, when did I end up in the psychiatric ward? No, man. No, man. Be nice, man. Be nice. Be nice. Gigi says Giants will win 2017 with the defense giving up a stop at the end of the game. I sure hope so, man. I'm looking forward to the game. Hopefully they close it out. Game's gonna be on my channel this week, so hopefully you guys come by tomorrow. It's at 4:25. I want to say kick. I don't know if the game starts at 4. Let me look. Is it at 4 or 4:25? Let me take a quick look. The Giants game is at. When is the Giants game? Let me see. Usually it just pops. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 4:25. So I'll probably go live at 3:50. We usually go live a half hour before the game. So I'll probably start at 3:55 as the game starts at 4:25. So be a lot of fun calling the game with you guys tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. And NY Giants 26 says Dable is dominant on the field and in the bedroom. So the game's at 4:25. Mike says, Chris, I wouldn't trade Daves for any coach in the NFL. I kind of agree with you when you factor in his age, and I kind of agree with you. I mean, you're not trading him for Belichick. Belichick's ready to retire soon. You're not trading him for Tomlin. He's been in the league for a long time. Yeah, he's up there. Let's put it that way. I mean, well, McVay's damn good. McVay's up there. He's still really young and he's very accomplished. There's definitely a lot of good young coaches in the NFL, but I'm very happy with the one we got. Let's put it that way. Very happy with the one that we got. But guys, I'm going to close it out. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to get some sleep. I can't believe I still have 600 people in here. You guys are lunatics. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. You guys are the best. I'm going to look forward to watching the 1 o'clock games. I'll be on live at about 4 to get ready for the Giants game with you. Hopefully the Eagles have a loss by the time the Giants kick off and we're ready to tie it up in first place. But guys, have a great rest of your night. Enjoy the games tomorrow. And let's go New York Giants. Have a good night, guys. Or have a good morning. We got football. We got football today. Good night, guys.